The sport's sponsored by IHOP. Padres taking on the Phillies in Game 2 after they got shut out yesterday, losing 3-0 at home. Aaron Nola will be going for the Phils, while Randy Vasquez will be going for the Padres. In the NBA, the Western Conference, the Spurs taking on the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Game 5, that game is at 5:30 with the series tied 2-2. Oklahoma City is currently a 4.5-point favorite. The winner of that series will take on the New York Knicks, who are headed to the NBA Finals after completing a sweep of the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday. Make today a little better with IHOP. And the IHOP value menu, where a full satisfying meal is just $6 any day of the week. Picture fluffy pancakes, crispy bacon, and eggs, or try the new BLT stacked high and serve with fries. Big flavor, just $6 every day, $7 in some locations.
We will start from the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
That's how it starts.
The Phillies series continues tonight at Petco.
As A.J. Preller started his yearly trade preparations.
They're partying in New York.
Brunson buries a step-up right wing three from the far side over Wade.
As the Knicks head to the NBA Finals. But who will they face from the West? Plus,
I want winners. Spurs -1.5. They're going to cover the spread tonight.
Bad news.
I like the Avs on the money line, -166. I do think they get some get back in Game 2.
That's not going to work.
Alexander Usyk taking on Rico Verhoeven. I think Usyk, he wins by KO, but it's over 5.5 rounds.
Sounding great.
Richard Torres and Frank Sanchez on the undercard. I like Richard Torres by KO, TKO, or DQ.
I think there's been a mistake.
And Brooks Koepka to finish top 10 at the Byron Nelson.
Now, this is knucklehead talk.
we're back after a long weekend with a lot to cover from the San Diego Sports 760 studios. In the Zone with Fletch and Sammy.
And let's get it going on a Tuesday, everybody. What's up? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling then from 2 to 3, going along with Sammy. Schaefer and Sliwa will be your drive home. Brooks Koepka finished 14th. Okay?
How did it feel that you got roped in with me getting called out for long shots? It doesn't feel too great, does it?
You know, it doesn't. Big voice guy. We're gonna have a talking after the show today. Maybe I'll give him a call and say, hey, just leave me out of this. All right. He finished 14th. That was still a pretty good pick. Did other long shots win over the weekend? I haven't really looked.
It was a rough weekend. The Usyk fight did the over. He did get a controversial KO with 1 second to go in the 11th round, but the rest of them did not come through. Betting the Spurs has been a hard thing for this show because I bet against the Spurs and then they win. Then I bet on the Spurs and they get slaughtered in Game 3 after going up 15. So stay tuned for 12:45 today. We'll be betting on the Spurs Thunder game.
In some way, I don't really know how you bet this series, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like I've been wrong for the majority of it, but it is San Diego Sports 760. We got some great giveaways for you today that you'll have to win on the Talkback Mike. We'll tell you all about them in a bit. Every team across the NFL, for the most part, I think the Jets may be the one who hasn't, have at least started OTAs. Mandatory mini camps coming up within the next couple of weeks. We are edging closer by the day to the NFL season beginning. The Padres are in full swing. They took 2 out of 3 against the A's over the long weekend.
Swing is an interesting,
interesting
term.
They don't do too much swinging, do they? They lose yesterday to the Phillies, a pretty putrid effort. No runs scored for the Padres. Tons of men left on base, 10 runners left in scoring position for the Padres. So frustrating overall there. What else do we have going on? We got Roland Garros in the middle of it.
Daniil Medvedev, massive upset already so far in the tournament.
Sure. And then, of course, we got the NBA playoffs in full swing. All right. We're going to get to it all over the course of the show today. Kevin Acee is coming up at 1:30. We are going to start with the Padres here because yesterday, man, just so many opportunities, especially for Manny Machado, who doesn't come through for the Padres. And he talked about it after the game. He's like, look, when your star player leaves 6 people on base, you're not going to win the game. And that's obvious, right? But Manny Machado is hitting 170 at this point, which this is the worst start to a season he's ever had over his entire career in terms of slugging percentage, on base percentage, batting average, all of them career lows at this point in a baseball season for Manny Machado's entire career. And when you do have a Manny Machado who's hitting 170 on the season so far, and it doesn't really show any signs of life. He's hit a few home runs. He had a homer against the A's, actually. But when Manny Machado is playing this bad, what can you expect out of the Padres? And for the fact that they've won as many games as they have, the old adage that we've gotten used to saying in San Diego, as Manny goes, the Padres go, is not the case. At least not this year. No, this year it's been as far as Gavin Sheets goes, the Padres will go. As far as Miguel Andujar goes, the Padres will go. And they've kept them alive. And it's been impressive what the Padres have been able to do without their big three doing anything. I just don't know how much longer it can last. And it's funny, I was talking about this with a buddy over the weekend. We're like, okay, so what happens when it does happen, right? When Manny Machado starts hitting a little more consistently, Fernando Tatis Jr. finds a little bit of power, which, by the way, did I see this right? That the double he hit on Sunday's game was only the 6th double of the year for Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, that's outrageous. That's outrageously bad. So, but what happens when all three of them start hitting right? Well, it feels like that's when the balloon will pop on the rest of the team, and maybe the other guys who have been producing don't produce. But yesterday was rough because Griffin Canning, I felt like, really gave you a shot to win. Phillies only had 3 hits yesterday. They just scored 3 runs yesterday. Padres had 5 hits, I think. They left a bunch of men on and scored 0 runs. That's the difference sometimes, and it sucks when it happens. But the Padres, man, you got to start finding something, and I don't really feel like keep beating this dead horse of Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jackson Merrill.
The Padres over the last week, 0 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 7 runs, good outing there, 0 runs, 4 runs, and 1 run. Like, you're not winning a World Series like that. Like, it's not happening. And it's getting hard when you talk about this team. And that if I was AJ Preller, I would be so frustrated because I put together this kind of all-star bullpen that is must-watch TV. And the starting pitching staff hasn't been excellent this year, but I think overall, given the fact that Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove have been hurt,
there's news on that too, by the way. We'll talk about it with Kevin Acee at 1:30.
Yes, but I give them high marks for keeping this team alive. Even Randy Vasquez last week against the Dodgers. Think about that game. Shohei Ohtani hits a home run off him on the first pitch. And then he leaves runners on base in the first inning. The Dodgers score 1 run in the second inning, leave runners on base. Randy Vasquez kept them in that game. Griffin Canning yesterday kept them in that game. On Saturday, when the Padres won 2-0, they had 2 hits. The A's had 4 hits. The A's had 4 hits in the game, and it's a testament to the bullpen that they're able to shut this thing down. But we talked so much about last week, the report that AJ Preller was looking at Josh Hader or Aroldis Chapman, and everyone in San Diego's like, why the one thing that you don't need is bullpen help? Why is that a target? Well, now I kind of get it because he knows that this offense is almost getting to a point where it's unfixable. So it's like, try to assemble the best pitching staff that you can to where if these guys can squeeze across 2 runs, 3 runs. I mean, this is not even with the kind of bullpen the Padres have. They don't need to score 8 runs. They literally just need to get some offense early in the game.
You mean like a bases loaded situation with no outs like they had, I don't know, yesterday?
Yeah.
With Manny Machado at the plate.
And leaving 6 on base. I mean, it's just, right. To your point, it feels like beating a dead horse. We come on here and have the same conversation because it is the only conversation. These guys don't hit. The guys that get paid all the money don't hit. And Machado has been a disaster so far this year. Tatis, no power. And we don't even talk about Merrill because Merrill was supposed to be a breakout, but because of how bad Tatis and Machado have been, he's been kind of getting a pass. It's frustrating because the guys who should be good and who should be hitting the ball just simply aren't. And I don't know what the answer is.
And look, Tatis was on base 4 times yesterday. You can throw that out there all you want. Did you see the hits? They weren't exactly hits. One was a blooper to right field. One of them was another infield single, but it's gotten bad. All right, so here's the good news for the Padres. They're 31-22, which is outrageous. Given everything we talk about, the fact that they're 31-22, I find myself thinking all the time, why do we complain so much about this team? I think it's valid, but they are 31-22, and that's good enough to be the top wild card spot in the National League on Memorial Day. Here's the good news for the Padres. The team that is in their position on the final Monday of May, which is Memorial Day, 90% of the time has made the playoffs since the playoffs were expanded to 6 teams per league. So what's that been? 6-7 years now? And so the Padres are in a good spot by the numbers to make the postseason this year.
They're just a hard watch. And I think that's why
tough watch.
It's people get frustrated with them because the record's good, but you watch them and you're like, why is this such a it's hard watching the team considering how they have to win on the margins. It feels like every single game.
Look, I don't need fireworks or anything. I'm fine with boring baseball if boring baseball wins, and it has been winning so far. And let's be honest, it's been very exciting at times so far, especially late in games. But it's just you need something to come from somewhere. And right now they're not getting it outside of some guys who you are not expecting it from. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big 3 here of our number 1. We got a lot of things going on in the sports world. We'll tell you about these giveaways right after the big 3. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends?
I mean, coworkers. Truckers.
It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
YouTube is up at San Diego Sports 760. We would love to see you there. Twitter is also going at Fletch and Sammy. You can find us there. And of course, the free iHeartRadio app is on and rolling. In fact, my brother is in Spain. It's getting close to like 10 o'clock at night right now, and he is listening to start the show today.
Hell yeah.
So shout out to big bro Alex in Spain on the free iHeartRadio app. Sammy, where are we going?
Alex, if you want to send in on Talkback Mike any embarrassing stories about Fletch, they will be getting played on air. So please keep that in mind.
He is my best friend, and you'd ask him to do something like that?
Yep.
Believe it.
The New York Knicks headed to the NBA Finals, put on a show, sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you're the Knicks, who should you want, though? We got Oklahoma City taking on the Spurs tonight, Game 5 of the series. If you are the Knicks, you have a week off here, a week and a half. Who should you be wanting to win the series?
I would tend to say the San Antonio Spurs, but I'm not 100% sure I believe that. Look, the Spurs OKC series is wild to me because I feel like how the next few games are officiated is going to determine the winner. I feel like the tighter it's officiated, the more I lean towards the Oklahoma City Thunder. The looser it's officiated, the more I lean towards the San Antonio Spurs, even though the Thunder are doing some beating up of their own. I just, that series is so interesting to me because I feel like they're actually pretty even teams. But the way a game is officiated could sway it one way or the other. If I am the Knicks, who are on this beautiful team of destiny run, kicking the crap out of whoever steps up to their face, I would be wanting the San Antonio Spurs, but I would be doing so not knowing what the hell to do with Victor Wembanyama, but understanding that if you get to the Spurs bench, you're probably a little better off.
It's tough. I'd probably lean Spurs because I do think the fact that, to give Karl-Anthony Towns some credit, he's been playing some really good basketball. Mitchell Robinson would have to be an X factor in the series.
Can Karl-Anthony Towns guard Wemby?
No, but no one can guard Wemby. Karl-Anthony Towns can give some offensive production back the other way that at least Wemby would have to work on defense. The X factor in that series would be Mitchell Robinson, who comes off the bench for the Knicks. He's a terrible free throw shooter. That's why he's not playing in down the stretch in games, but he's a very good rebounder and can score a little bit. He would have to give you something off the bench to be able to throw some fouls at Wemby. The Thunder are interesting because I do think that the Knicks could give them some problems, that they have the same number of elite defenders that they have in OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. Landry Shamet has become unbelievable. He's like 11-12 in the series from three. So I actually think the Knicks are live dogs in both series. Are they going to be favored? Absolutely not. But I do not think whoever wins, this is a 4 or 5 game set. I do think this goes possibly 6 games and possibly 7.
Especially the way Brunson's playing. We talk about how Victor Wembanyama is unguardable. He is. Jalen Brunson may be unguardable too, which is crazy to say about the guy who's usually the shortest guy on the court. But the way he's playing is terrific and wildly fun to watch. I'll tell you, the Knicks have the fun factor to them that I don't think OKC or San Antonio have.
They're rootable, and it's funny because the Knicks typically aren't, like, Knicks fans are known to be obnoxious, right, but it's fun seeing New York like going crazy. It adds a fun dimension to the finals.
How about the slow-mo 4K footage of Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner jumping into each other's arms after a Game 7 win?
So
Sammy?
cute.
So adorable. I will say, if the Knicks somehow find a way to win the finals, New York City may be gone.
Yes, that city is going to be on. You see, they shut down the parades.
Yeah, and there's fires everywhere. The celebration turns to chaos real quick.
All right, let's go where it's not so fun. The flip side of this, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, that was a pathetic performance last night. James Harden had the balls to go post game and say he thought he had a good series after going 2 of 8 from the field yesterday. Him and Kenny Atkinson specifically, after Game 3 said that we should have won 2 of the first 3 games analytically. Then after Game 4, attributed the series loss to the fact that they had to play multiple Game 7s instead of if they had ended the series earlier in the previous rounds in the 6th game. How bad of a look is this for the Cavs? And number 2, should they be looking to trade and move on from Donovan Mitchell and James Harden?
I saw earlier today that the loss for Cleveland will allow them the public ability to go ahead and clear some room to bring LeBron back for a farewell tour. I saw a lot of different things. I don't know that that'd be helpful for the franchise. If I am Cleveland, though, I'm looking at this as a total embarrassment, this 4-game series, because I would agree that they should have won Game 1. They had a 22-point lead in Game 1 in the fourth quarter. They had a 99% chance to win in the fourth quarter. But the fact that they sort of just rolled over and died in the rest of the series makes everything that was said post-game yesterday completely laughable.
Kenny Atkinson should be fired today. No, I'm serious. And I'm not usually that guy that's trying to be like, he did make an Eastern Conference Finals. The way they lost that series, they went on in game 1. There was an 8 when they had the 22-point lead.
No timeout.
18-1 run. No timeout. Yesterday, 20-point run for the Knicks. Very few timeouts called. Kenny Atkinson had 0 second half adjustments at all the entire series. And then he's going to the mic talking about how analytically they should have won and the schedule. It's like, if you would have been better in the first 2 rounds, you wouldn't have had to go to a game 7 against. It's embarrassing from a coach that he's saying this. James Harden has never won anywhere, and there's a reason why, because he's a soft player and that he plays soft. SGA gets criticized a lot, which we can debate that till the cows come home. James Harden is a finesse player. So when you get to the NBA playoffs and they swallow the whistle a little bit, he is not an elite level player. Multiple games in this playoffs where he had more turnovers than field goals made. And Donovan Mitchell, kind of an APB out on him in the fourth quarter. So yeah, not a very good look for the Cavs. They should be making wholesale changes.
All right, let's talk some game 5 between the Spurs and OKC coming up on the other side. I think it's an electric series, man. I love the physicality it's being played with right now. But real quick, we have a couple of opportunities for you today on the talkback mic. First, 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Secondly, a pair of tickets to see Chicago at the San Diego County Fair as part of the Corona Grandstand stage at the fair. So you can win a total of 6 fair tickets today, a 4-pack and then a pair of tickets to the concert, which also gets you fair admission. You got to win both of these via the talkback mic. We'll leave it open all show long. And the question today, pretty simple, man. What are your thoughts on this Padres team right now? Right now, do you think this is a team that you should be excited about, maybe winning 90 games, getting to the postseason? What is your feelings on this offense, this Padres team right now on May 26th? We'll play those through the rest of the show. We'll have 2 total winners. Sammy, let's hit a commercial break, talk some OKC, San Antonio on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2:00 today. Tickets, 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. You can buy them at sdfair.com. The fair is running from June 10th through July 5th, closed Mondays and Tuesdays. We're giving them away on the talkback, Mike. We just want your thoughts on this Padres team, what the big three are doing, what starting pitching has been doing. There is news out there right now on Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. We'll get to that coming up with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, at 1:30. But I was in Seattle over the weekend, Sammy. You grew up a lot of your life up in Seattle. I'm going to say this.
3 years.
I'm glad I live in San Diego. Is that fair?
No, I'm from LA originally, and I moved to Seattle. And Seattle's a gorgeous city. Like, it's a great city to visit, but I'm not built for the rain, man.
Yeah, the first night we were down around where Lumen Field is, actually. My friend would not let me go do bad things to Lumen Field, which is what I would have liked to done because it's the home of the Seahawks.
The Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Those would be the ones. And man, you can't walk more than a block without being reminded of it. I'll tell you that. But we started out down there and we were at some little grunge bar that looks like Nirvana was probably found at this little grunge bar in downtown Seattle. And it was cool. And I will say they have pull tabs, which are a new addiction of mine. Very, very cool. You know what these are?
No.
They're little pieces of paper that sit behind the bar in a lot of Midwest towns, but this Seattle bar had it. And it's literally a tiny little piece of paper that you pull the tab, and it's like a slot machine. If you get all 3 matching symbols, you win something. The most you can win is like $150. The normal one's like $1 win. But if you win enough of them, you get free beer, which is kind of cool.
Okay, so you have to buy the tab?
Yeah, they're like 25 cents each.
Okay.
So you hand the bartender like a $10 bill, and they just give you a stack of them, and then you throw them on the ground when you're done. It's kind of a cool little culture thing that Seattle
I gotta
has.
check that out. I've never seen that before. That's cool.
They are cool. But I had a winner for like $10, and I gave it back to her, and she said, "Do you want pull tabs or a beer?" And I was like, "What? Cash? Is that an option?" And she's like, "No, pull tabs or a beer." So you either get to get more pull tabs,
so they keep you on the hook,
or you just get a beer, which is probably like $10. But Seattle's cool. Spent some good days there.
Did you go to Ivar's?
Don't know what that is. Went to Dick's. Little burger chain.
Clarify those for the people. Yeah, it's the famous burger up there. It's like the In-N-Out of Seattle. It's not comparable to In-N-Out. It's a solid burger, but it's in the mold of a McDonald's. It's the thin, extremely thin patty. You could get like 4 of them because it like equates to probably like 1 Big Mac.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got 1 burger, which was like $3, which is cool. I got a side of fries and a chocolate milkshake. The milkshake was fantastic. The fries were pretty good. And the coolest part about Dick's, I would say, is you get there's like 40 people lined up out front. This was close to midnight, so it's popular. And we get to the front, and I'm thinking this is going to be a 10, 15-minute wait. Literally, before I finished saying my order, the burger was there, the shake was there, and the fries were there. And they were all pretty good. Dick's, not bad. I liked it.
Let's get that clipped.
Not bad at all. The sporting goods place, I'm a fan of. The restaurant, also a fan of. That's all I got to say about that. It is San Diego Sports 760. Game 5 tonight between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. It's tied up 2 games apiece. A lot of people didn't think it would get here. I think the Spurs have shown a little more fight. A star has been born with Stephon Castle. My God, that dude is electric. He is wildly athletic, and he's kind of like what I hope John Morant would be at this point in his career. I feel like that's what Stephon Castle kind of is. And this series is getting feisty. These teams do not like each other, and I don't think they have since game 1. But by the end of game 4, you had Castle getting thrown into the hoop underneath after going up for a dunk. OKC's had some very questionable, dirty plays in this series so far, and game 5 is going to be some fireworks tonight, Sammy.
I'm excited for this game tonight because this is really going to come down to SGA and Wemby. Because I don't think SGA hasn't really dominated this series. I mean, 6 for 15 in game 4, 19 points. We'll see. The Spurs are kind of enacting what the Lakers did to SGA. The Spurs just have more talent on the team to be able to do it for 48 minutes. They're throwing multiple bodies at SGA, making other people make shots. And we saw that now. Game 4, I throw a little bit out in the sense of the Spurs had to have that game. They'd have lost that game. They'd have lost the series because they weren't going to go down 3-1 and come back and win. And then game 3, they get up 15-0. Crowd's going crazy. To the Thunder's credit, they kind of chipped away at it and really got back in the game. Then ended up blowing them out. Jared McCain was really the MVP of that game. He was off the bench, tremendous player, which I have no idea how. That's why Daryl Morey got fired. How the Philadelphia 76ers let him go for a bag of chips. I mean, he was going to be the rookie of the year for Philadelphia a year ago before he got hurt halfway through the season. and then the Thunder snag him for nothing. But this really does, because SGA, and this is why, does SGA get a lot of crap? Yes. And is all of it fair? SGA is a very good player. Whatever you think about the flopping, whatever you think about all that stuff, he is a tremendous player. But this is why I don't see like SGA as Showtime electric. Like, people, I think, would buy a ticket. And I'm curious what people think. 70470, start your mess with team. If you're like, I got to go watch one player in the NBA, Wemby would fit that bill. Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic. Like, you could go down the list of guys who are electric players. SGA is just a great player. I don't think he's like dominant takeover game. He gets a very quiet 20-25 a game. And we've seen that this series. He hasn't really dominated this series. To your point, he's a better player than Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle has been much more electric in this series alone. So this feels like an SGA game. If SGA really wants to go make his mark that he is the MVP this year, he needs a big game tonight at home.
Well, SGA is not an amazing 3-point shooter. He's not the best athlete on the court at any given time, or making some crazy athletic plays where he double clutches and goes under the hoop and reverses. He plays a little bit of a boring brand of basketball. And then the thing that he gets in trouble for, which the fan base of the NBA in general is really starting to call out this year, which is why OKC is not being rooted for in this series by just about anybody, is he gets to the foul line a lot and he makes all his free throws. And the way he gets there is questionable.
Do you think it's fair? What is your take on it? Like, do you think it's a blown out of proportion take, or do you think it's valid?
It is valid. I'd say the foul merchant nickname is well earned, but I also don't really discredit him for that. Like, I don't think it's his fault that he's taking advantage of a system. I do think as this series has gone on, games are being a little looser called, and it's hurt OKC a little bit. I think that's why this series is 2-2.
It is OKC against the Suns and the Lakers without Luka were able to rely on the supporting cast to get through it because they were just more talented. In this series where the talent gap is not that wide, and you could argue one way or the other, honestly, that OKC hasn't had its stars take over. Like, Chet has not been good against Wemby whatsoever, and Jalen Williams isn't there right now. Like, this is, if SGA wants to shut a lot of people up and be like, I am the MVP, I'm the best player in basketball, that's why I've won back-to-back awards, it might win back-to-back finals. Like, he has to dominate, and that hasn't happened yet, because at some point, especially if it gets to a game 7, this goes to a game 7, which is what it looks like. They're going to, the whistle, this is not going to be a foul merchant game. This is going to be, you're going to go have to drop 35 and go win this thing, because the Spurs are just gaining confidence game by game.
All right, leave us those talkbacks. Get in the running to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair and a pair of tickets to go see Chicago out at the County Fair this year. We'll play some of those on the other side. And plus, get you back to these Padres, man. There's news on Nick Pivetta. There's news on Joe Musgrove. We'll fill you in coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This we're sponsored by MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. We got the Padres taking on the Phillies tonight after dropping game one. That game will be at 6:40. Aaron Nola will be going for the Phils, while Randy Vasquez will be going for the Padres. And Justin Persham Sharania, the Cleveland Cavaliers will be keeping Kenny Atkinson, and they will be looking to extend James Harden despite getting swept in the Eastern Conference Finals by the Knicks. And then tonight, we got the Thunder taking on the Spurs. That game will be in Oklahoma City. The Thunder are 4.5-point favorites in Vegas. Experience Vegas without the guesswork, with all the inclusive experience at Luxor and Excalibur. Your room, meals, drinks with every meal and a show are covered. One price from $330 plus tax for 2 guests. Vegas simplified. Book now at mgmresorts.com.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2:00 today. Sammy will keep it rolling after that from 2 to 3. Schaefer and Sliwa will be your drive home. YouTube is open at San Diego Sports 760. We got some comments coming in there. Jamar says, Fletch, did you finally watch The Boys finale?
I did.
What an ending for the almighty Homelander. I mean, thanks, Jamar, in case I hadn't. Yes, I watched the finale. I loved it. I thought that finale saved a lot of what was kind of a disappointing final season for The Boys. Is that fair to say, Sammy?
I enjoyed it.
I liked the final season, but I loved the show. And I think that the final season, they kind of strayed away from what made some of the characters. Like, I thought MM had a pretty rough final season, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I don't think they did his
more like cynical.
Yeah, I don't think they did his character justice of what he was for the entire series. But I thought the ending, the scene in the Oval Office, was just about as good as that show ever was.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be giving out spoilers, but
I didn't say anything.
Lori liked it. I thought it was well done. I thought for a finale, it's hard to get finales right. Very few shows have ever done a great finale. I think Breaking Bad would fall into that, but
Breaking Bad was the best finale ever.
I'm trying to think, like, what's another show that had a great finale? Seinfeld got killed for its finale
because it was terrible.
The Office, I was disappointed that Michael didn't come back with them.
He did for like 30 seconds.
No, I know, but
finale.
They wanted him to come back to The Office. Like,
sure.
I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, The Sopranos obviously is.
Like, it's the hardest thing to do in TV, and so many are awful at it, right? Like Game of Thrones was terrible. The finale of Game of Thrones. Oh, Sammy's just starting his Game of Thrones journey, so he won't know yet. But just wait, man. The final season's gonna piss you off. Get ready for it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard so much of.
It is. It's the hardest thing to do. I think that the guy who makes Breaking Bad, who made Better Call Saul, is like the only guy who has a pretty good hit rate. His name's Vince Gilligan. He has a new show on Apple TV that's supposed to be amazing. Yeah, he's the one guy who never really has screwed up a finale. Everybody else pretty much screws them up, and they're bad. But I thought The Boys did a very good job. I actually liked the final part with Huey and Butcher. I thought that was both really true to their two characters, and it showed you the whole time who's really a good guy, who's really a bad guy.
I can't wait for Severance to come out. So we'll do our weekly recaps on Mondays.
Same. I need that show back in the biggest way. By the way, have you seen Ben Stiller, the highlight reels he's posting from all the Knicks games?
Oh, yeah.
So he's taking like 4K footage on his phone and he's posting it on his own social media accounts. I'm like, oh, this dude is a director. Look at this video. It's amazing.
Ben Stiller and Timothy Chalamet are just living their best life, going to every Knicks game. Do you see what the tickets are costing for courtside?
Outrageous.
$600,000 to sit courtside.
Outrageous. I got to imagine, like, Timothy Chalamet's not paying for the tickets, is he?
Oh, he's paying.
You think?
Okay, if for a regular season game, if Chalamet calls and goes, I'm going to bring Kylie Jenner, I'm sure they're like a discounted rate. But for the Knicks in the NBA Finals, do you think they're passing up $600,000 just because Chalamet's there? That's going to be all tech billionaires.
Right, but is he paying or is
his agency
Dune paying? You know what I mean? Like, who's actually paying for these?
Someone's paying, but they're not free. Like, maybe if this was the Orlando Magic and they were in the NBA Finals and they had a celebrity fan, they might be like, all right, like, come to the game. It's cool. But not the Knicks. The Knicks, because otherwise there's a gazillion celebrity fans that be calling. Like Tracy Morgan be calling, Ben Still. I mean, you have everyone calling.
Probably. I would imagine there's some sort of deal being caught, because how many millions of social media impressions is Timothy Chalamet, Kylie Jenner, and Ben Stiller?
I just think for the NBA Finals, it's different.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. Starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, specifically the San Diego Padres. There is news on both Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. Are you ready for the news, Sammy?
I heard the news.
they are progressing beyond active rest. They are progressing beyond the active rest protocol. Both of them have increased their activity. This is per Kevin Acee, and Joe Musgrove plans to play catch this week.
Can they hit?
I don't think they can, Sammy. They're pitchers.
But
Joe Musgrove is looking to start playing catch, which is good news.
That's great news.
I mean, Sammy and I can play catch right now. You don't see us bragging about it, but Joe Musgrove is on his way to playing catch. Nick Pivetta still probably a little further behind is what Nick Pivetta said for his throwing again. But both of them are up in the activity. I think the news I saw was late summer for both of these starting pitchers.
All-Star break.
Which is awful news for the San Diego Padres.
I actually wouldn't sweat that as much because it's not been the pitching that's the problem. I mean, if I was running the Padres, which I'm obviously not, but if I was, the starts that some of these guys have given you, if you would have told us before the season started that we would be complaining, despite the Padres having a pretty decent record, about the team, I would have said it's because they're relying so much on the bullpen. The bats are doing their part, and the starting pitching rotation is terrible because that's what when we were heading into the season, it was, are you really going to rely on Griffin Canning and Germán Marquez at the time and Walker Buehler, guys like that? But overall, these guys have been solid. Yes. Is Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta better than Walker Buehler and Griffin Canning? 100%. But if I'm the Padres, the last thing I'm doing is rushing these guys back because you know that they've been serviceable, the rotation now. And considering the way the offense is going, you are going to have to, in the playoffs, assuming you get there, going to have to be putting on pitching masterclasses. And it can't just be, that's why you're hearing about maybe Chapman coming to the team, maybe Josh Hader, because you do worry about.
I even saw today they were finalists for Tariq Skubal.
Well, that would be
with the Dodgers, the Yankees, someone else in the Padres.
Now, it'd take the entire farm system, but if you really believe the Padres can win a World Series.
It'd also be a 1-year rental for a dude who is currently injured. Like, he's going to make his way back this season, but I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel like if you're going to give away the entire farm system, you want a pitcher that is going to be there for years to come. Because Skubal, the Padres, unless the new owners are like, we're going to chip him out and pay him whatever he wants, the chances of the Dodgers, of the Yankees, of the Mets, of one of these teams actually beating the offer are very well. So, look, it's great that those guys are progressing. I wouldn't rush them back because the last you're going to need them, again, the way the offense is going, but yeah, it's the pitching is not the problem right now.
Well, the strategy could be a lot like, I don't know, the Patriots did with Gronk that 1 year where they brought back Gronk halfway through the season, even though he was healthy enough to play the whole season. You get him for that playoff push, right? That would be the thought process behind waiting.
So the Dodgers did a year ago.
Right, and it worked. Nick Pivetta said, look, I feel like I could go out there and throw tomorrow, but I don't think I want to do that because I might just end up right back on the IL. So it sounds like there's a lot still at play here with both of them. The hope would be this is like getting an even better trade deadline right at the All-Star break, and you get them back, and it's even better than bringing in someone else because they're your guys who you know can perform. But we will see. I'm definitely not holding my breath on either of them returning. Like, I don't think you can even factor them into the equation for the rest of this season.
Well, what did Coach say? Coach said he didn't think Pivetta was coming back.
Right.
Now, that's just Coach's opinion, but Coach is pretty tapped in. I will say that.
Well, and if Pivetta is saying things like, if I were to come back right now, I feel like I could throw, but I may end up right back on the IL, that means it's a problem that's going to stick around. It's not a problem that's just fixed.
858. Honestly, I wouldn't mind watching Joe take a few ABs over Merrill Machado right now.
Get him in there. Get that pine tar going, Big Joe. Let's see what you got.
I mean, I wonder what, we're never going to hear this, but if you were a pitcher on the Padres right now, I'm sure
pissed
internally you are like, what do we have to do? I mean, this pitching staff, the bullpen's exceptional. The starting pitching rotation has been very good again, despite the amount of injuries. Could they improve? 100%. But with the injuries, I think they deserve good marks overall. But this hitting, man, like the problem is it's like, because at least if the pitching was awful right now, we were pointing to Musgrove and Pivetta. We're like, okay, there's help, there's reinforcements on the way. Machado and Tatis and Merrill, unless you're going for a crazy shakeup, which is a whole different conversation, they're going to be here. And we keep hearing about, well, Tatis hitting the ball hard. All right. Well, it's been 2 months of hitting the ball hard, not up in the air.
He's not even really doing that anymore either. He's hitting a lot of blue pit singles or a little rollover first base, run it out. Yeah, it is frustrating, man. The offense is killing me. All right, we got long shots coming up in just a minute. Sammy's going to make us new lineup.
We have a very special lineup today.
Tennis?
Oh, yeah.
Better
we have some Roland Garros involved in here.
We also have some breaking news out of the World Cup. So we have the 2026 World Cup roster.
Team USA.
Is this something big for you, Sammy? You into this?
I'm very into. Of course, it's the American team in the World Cup.
Well, the whole roster has been announced. We'll get to it in just a little bit. This is fun, man. We're gonna start ramping up for this. We also, in terms of play-by-play this week on 760, we have a big one. On Sunday, 12:15, the U.S. men's national soccer team will play the first of its final two tune-up matches when they take on Senegal in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're going to hear this game exclusively right here on San Diego Sports 760 this Sunday. I'll actually be listening as I drive back from Vegas. That sounds pretty nice.
Boys going out to Vegas. Why are you going out to Vegas again?
Just for fun. Actually, I'll tell you exactly the reason why. This is the final weekend of the MGM buffet. Forever.
What? Forever?
Yeah. They're closing their doors for good. So my wife and I.
I was at the MGM 3 weeks ago. I didn't know they even had a buffet.
Oh, they have a great buffet. But
where at? Park MGM or MGM Grand?
MGM, the big one.
Where?
I've been to the buffet 5 or 6 times. That's where
they have a food court
like
by the
champagne
tables.
Breakfast at the MGM buffet. I think it's downstairs, but we've done it a few times. And my wife and I, we went to Vegas all these years ago and did that. And she wants to go back on its final week.
So what's on the rest of the itinerary?
I think we're going to some grocery store thing. And then I'm going to gamble. We'll sit at the sports book for a while.
This sounds like a different kind of Vegas.
Well, my wife and I do Vegas very differently. We eat really good food.
What do you mean? What do you mean a grocery store? There's no grocery stores in Las Vegas.
I'm telling you what it is. She sent it to me the other day. Hang on.
Do you have any input on what's going on in Vegas?
No, never. My brother-in-law and I will stay up till 2 a.m. gambling one of the nights.
913 says, Ben, you travel more than the Padres.
It's called Meow Wolf Las Vegas Omega Mart. It's like a destination. It's a tourist attraction in Clark County, Nevada.
Oh, so you're going off the strip.
It's a surreal, immersive art installation disguised as a supermarket located within the Area 15 Entertainment District.
Oh,
featuring
okay.
bizarre interactive
halfway
exhibits,
between
secret portals and hidden worlds that tell a story about consumerism and corporate greed. That's what we're doing.
It's funny because it doesn't seem like there's blackjack tables there with drinks.
If there are, I'll find them. I promise you that. But yes, my Vegas trips with my wife are very different than a Vegas trip you and I would take together, Sammy.
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing no grocery shopping. I promise you that.
I don't even know what this thing is, but that's what we're doing. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Long shots coming up next on the free iHeartRadio app. All right, so I'm finding out this grocery store we're going to isn't a grocery store at all. It's like an art museum.
I get that's better.
In Las Vegas. Let's go. I'm going to be judging some art out there in Vegas, baby.
So, all right. So that's the big itinerary. You're going to the buffet one day.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to the art district.
You got it.
And then we're just sitting in the room.
No, I'm going to gamble. Obviously, we're going to Vegas. My brother-in-law. So we do these trips at least twice a year, probably, where it's me, my wife, Kendall, and her sister, Stacy, and her husband, Dave, and their kid, Noah. So we do some fun, like stuff, family friendly during the day. We go around all the fun places, eat some fun lunch. And then the girls all go their own way. And Dave and I stay out all night gambling.
I never understood kids in Vegas.
Noah has a great time. Our nephew, he loves the bright lights. He loves the M&M store, the Coca-Cola factory. Like there's a lot of stuff to do with kids in Vegas. Not stuff that I'm necessarily interested in doing, but we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Should have a fun time.
So don't worry about it. We'll have a great time. It's Vegas, baby. We'll spend some time at the sports book, probably get into some Roland Garros while we're out there.
Of course.
There's tennis going all week this week, all weeks next week, right?
Yes. We got, this is the opening matches of Roland Garros. Got going on Saturday.
So will there be tennis picks on long shots every day?
Of course. There will definitely be tennis picks on long shots every day because baseball gets annoying. Like these guys don't care on Wednesdays in May. Betting on baseball, which we will have to do during the summer, drives me nuts. Okay, because it's just a lack of urgency during the week.
Sure, it's going to be the Cardinals playing against the Orioles.
It's like
who knows who's pitching, who cares who's.
We might
trying.
have a fun spin on the segment coming up after the NBA Finals.
Someone's going to have an opener going on a day where they didn't expect to. There's going to be a starting pitcher that gets scratched right before the game. All right, but Roland Garros, these balls against the wall time, baby. They're going. There's already been some huge upsets. Sammy, if you're ready to go, let's go ahead and smash some long shots. Or do you want to play that talk back?
Let's play the talk back first. Okay. I got pulled up.
My thoughts on the Padres right now are that there's a lot of hard habits to break between Manny, Fernando, Merrill, and they're prideful guys. So for them, it's hard to say I'm sorry, but we can't leave them now and take away the biggest part of them, which is us fans, because I think they'll find some inspiration this coming Saturday in the park.
I don't need to hear anymore. That is the winner for the Chicago tickets today, Sammy, because he just weaved in 2 different Chicago songs into a
That was
giveaway
impressive. I gotta be honest.
for a pair of tickets to go see Chicago on June 10th at the Corona Grandstand stage at the San Diego County Fair. Do we have a name on whoever left that talk back just now? Because that's fantastic. That
Scott.
Inspiration was in that, and Saturday at the Park was in that. The Chicago performance is part of the Toyota Summer Concert Series featuring a variety of classic favorites and shooting stars, all aimed to appeal to a wide variety of music lovers. Once upon a fair, in a land not so far away, you can go see Chicago. And Scott, you are going with a pair of tickets that also get you access to the San Diego County Fair. Congratulations. Sammy, can we smash some long shots?
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that me and his man.
with long shots.
You give us your thoughts on the Padres, by the way, on the free Talkback mic, on the free iHeartRadio app. You can win a 4-pack of San Diego County Fair tickets. We'll give those away in hour number 2. Sammy, where are we going?
We're heading to the courts, not the basketball court. We're gonna get there in a second. Tommy Paul, Lorenzo Sonego, happening at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So getting ready for work. Got to make sure tap in a long shots because we know my NHL pick and my NBA pick are going to hit tonight. So this is going to be the last 3 of the parlay. All right, Tommy Paul, rounding into form. Now, an American, very talented player who's kind of in this big grouping of American tennis players because it's been since Roddick in the early 2000s. Americans haven't dominated tennis, at least on the men's side. The American women have been fantastic. We've seen Coco Gauff, a lot of big time players over the years. But there's this kind of odd clumping of Ben Shelton trying to break through. Taylor Fritz was supposed to be that guy, the local kid. He got beaten the first round on Saturday. Massive upset. Taylor Fritz going down. He got Francis Tiafoe, the big foe, one of my favorites, and Tommy Paul. So Tommy Paul, a hard-hitting player. In his first round, he actually lost his first set, but was able to rally and take on, win the following 3 sets. Sonego's a very talented player, an Italian, so even in France, going to have the home court advantage. But Tommy Paul is 3-1 against him lifetime and 1-0 on clay. Tommy Paul's game fits the clay courts, and in the clay courts, what makes Roland Garros so fun. Wimbledon is just straight grass, so it's all about the power hitters. It's all about It's the ball bounces lower. It's about having a powerful serve. That's what really wins. Roland Garros on clay, the ball bounces higher, allowing more rally. So this is really about why Jannik Sinner is such a heavy favorite. It's about being able to return the ball and shot placement over power. Tommy Paul is a fantastic player. I like him in straight sets against Sonego. So 3 straight sets. You can find that on Kalshi. 3 straight sets, getting a W despite getting pushed to the 4th set in the previous match. Sonego also coming off a little bit of a rest disadvantage. His last match went 4 sets. All right, let's head to the Colorado Avalanche, take on the Golden Knights. This is crazy. The Colorado Avalanche were the massive favorites coming in. They were supposed to get after the Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights tonight are going for the sweep. They were almost plus 300 dogs entering the series. Now, there's been some injuries. Cale Makar, one of the star defensemen for Colorado, missed games 1 and 2, did return for game 3. Late comeback for the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Vegas Golden Knights as a whole, I mean, John Tortorella, this is a team, the Vegas Golden Knights fired their head coach 2.5 months ago. And Vegas has, despite being a newer hockey team, expansion team a few years ago, has really established itself as one of the top programs in all of hockey, making the Stanley Cup in year 1. Mark Stone finally came back in this series. You got Mitch Marner, who has been one of the highest points producers of the entire playoffs. He came over from the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have historically, at least the last few years with Austin Matthews and when Marner was there, weren't producing in the playoffs. And Marner's been fantastic. With all that being said, Nathan McKinnon is back tonight. The Colorado Avalanche are one of the highest scoring teams in the league. They won the President's Trophy. I do not think they get swept on home ice. It is currently a pick'em right now. I'm going to roll with the Avalanche. Game is at 6 o'clock. I think Colorado staves it off with McKinnon back. I just don't think Nathan McKinnon and the talent of the Avs are going to let them get swept. And I also think that if you're Vegas, if you get a lead early, you're going to go for it. If you get down this game, you're probably going to try to take it back to Vegas in game 5 and they're in Vegas and try to win it. I do think the Avs though win in game 4 in spite of being in Vegas. I got that wrong. All right, in the NBA, Spurs Thunder 5:30 tonight. Now Oklahoma City opening this game is at a 5.5 point favorite. People are betting San Antonio. I like the over 217.5 in this game. I feel weird picking a side because I do think Oklahoma City probably wins this game. I think that they respond. I mean, they got destroyed in game 4 from the get-go. And the shots weren't falling the first half. And then the Spurs really opened it up. They needed that game. They got up 15-0 in game 3. And Jared McCain had that unbelievable performance for Oklahoma City. I think it's a close game tonight, but I do expect more scoring. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder respond. Mark Daigneault is going to have some coverages because they're trying to do what the Lakers did to him. They just have better defenders than the Lakers. They're throwing 2 players at Shea, and Wemby's basically holding down Chet, and you're wondering where the production's coming from. Lou Dort only had 2 points in game 4. I don't expect that to happen again. I think the supporting cast of the Thunder get it together, and I do think the Spurs are playing with a high level of confidence. And with De'Aaron Fox, all these guys back, the scoring is going to be there. So last game of the under hit, I think the over 217.5. I think this is a big performance from both teams. I think the line is too tight. I do think Oklahoma City probably wins, but I don't feel comfortable laying 4.5 points. So over 217.5 in Thunder and Spurs. I like the Colorado Avalanche to avoid the sweep in Vegas in this one. I think they're going to send it back to Colorado. And I like Tommy Paul in straight sets to win his match at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
I like it a lot. Wake up with some tennis. We'll have some fun. Hopefully that's a winner for us. As the text line said, some Monday magic on long shots. You know what, 858, I'm with you. I thought it was a Monday all day today, but in fact, it's Tuesday magic on long shots. All right, hour number 2 is coming up next. We got a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. You got to win them on the talkback mic. Give us your thoughts on this Padres team here on May 26th. And what they can do the rest of the season. And Kevin Acee is going to be joining us in hour 2. We'll talk some Musgrove and Pavetta with him. We're going to start hour number 2 by talking about a running back in the NFL that might make you a lot of money this upcoming season. All right. You heard it here first. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
Sports sponsored by MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. Hey, Fletch, you can get your buffet. The Padres game 2 against the Phillies after dropping last night, getting shut out 3-0. Randy Vasquez will be on the mound for San Diego, while the Phillies will be going with Aaron Nola. That game is at 6:40. And the NBA tonight, we got game 5 of the Spurs and the Thunder at 5:30. Oklahoma City is a 4.5-point favorite. It's been bet down. They open as 5.5-point favorites with the point total set at 217.5. And then you got the Vegas Golden Knights at home in Vegas trying to close out the Colorado Avalanche at 6 o'clock. That is currently a pick'em. Star Nathan McKinnon will be playing in the game. Experience Vegas without the guesswork with the all-inclusive experience at Luxor and Excalibur. Your rooms, meals, drinks with every meal and a show are covered. One price from $330 plus tax for 2 guests. Vegas simplified. Book now at mgmresorts.com.
We will start from the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
That's how it starts.
The Phillies series continues tonight at Petco.
Has A.J. Preller started his yearly trade preparations?
They're partying in New York
Brunson buries a step-up right wing 3 from the far side over Wade.
as the Knicks head to the NBA Finals. But who will they face from the West? Plus,
I want winners. Spurs -1.5. They're going to cover the spread tonight.
Bad news.
I like the Avs on the money line -166. I do think they get some get back in game 2.
That's not going to work.
Alexander Usyk taking on Rico Verhoeven. I think Usyk, he wins by KO, but it's over 5.5 rounds.
Sounding great.
Richard Torres and Frank Sanchez on the undercard. I like Richard Torres by KO, TKO, or DQ.
I think there's been a mistake.
And Brooks Koepka to finish top 10 at the Byron Nelson.
Now, this is knucklehead talk.
we're back after a long weekend with a lot to cover from the San Diego Sports 760 studios. In the Zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it going here in hour number 2. We got a 4-pack of San Diego County Fair tickets. You just got to hit us up on the talkback mic. Open up that free iHeartRadio app. Search San Diego Sports 760. Hit the little red microphone icon. Leave us a message about these Padres. What are your thoughts on them at this point in the season on May 26th of 2026? And you could win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. All right, excuse me. We mentioned a running back that is going to make you a lot of money coming up in 2026. The name of that running back is Ashton Janty. He's on the Las Vegas Raiders. Clint Kubiak, the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, said they want to use him at a Christian McCaffrey clip in terms of share of snaps offensively. He wants him on the field for almost every snap of the 2026 offense for the Las Vegas Raiders, which presumably will start with Kirk Cousins as the quarterback and eventually transition into Fernando Mendoza. So when you look at all of that put together, Sammy, big year 2 for Ashton Janty.
Yeah, I will
Get him on those fantasy teams.
Yes, Janty is going to get a heavy workload, especially when Mendoza gets the keys, because the last thing you want to do now, Mendoza, I guess you have to worry about this a little less because he played so much in college. He's not a guy who, played 1 year and is now starting. He's seen a lot of defensive looks. I mean, he played in the Big Ten at Indiana, played some big time defenses there on his way to the national championship game, and then he played at Cal. So, but you got to save him. They're kind of doing what the Jets did, and why I got to give the Jets a little credit, which feels weird because the Jets don't normally do this kind of stuff. They're building for the future. The Raiders saw this for years. They took Janty, they took Bowers, they took Michael Mayer later in the second round, I believe, 1 year. Like, they were building the offense around having a quarterback, and they just haven't had it for the last few years with it being Kenny Pickett or Geno Smith, whoever it was. So now there's concerns about the receivers. I do not think they have very good receivers, but you do have Brock Bowers, who is a quasi star receiver, and to lean on to help Mendoza, you got to think they're going to feature the run game a lot with a lot of play action with Janty. So yeah, I think Janty has a huge year, but given the schedule that the Raiders have, like, you got to be careful with Mendoza just throwing him in there and being like drop back pass, because you don't have what Caleb Williams had, which is a couple star receivers already ready to go day one.
I'd be curious when they bring in Mendoza this year, because I would guess he will be in at some part this season. But if Kirk Cousins is playing great, Kirk Cousins isn't exactly just some washed up old guy. Kirk Cousins, I feel like, still has some time left in him. But the Janty thing is interesting because the numbers didn't pop off the page last year. In fact, he was a pretty big complaint for Raiders fans a year ago that they almost wasted a first-round pick on a running back because he didn't do a whole lot. He had 639 yards after contact last year, which was like the best in football. the way he was used, and I would say the offensive line of the Raiders was probably more a reason for the down production than anything else. I think Ashton Jeanty comes out this year and is a monster. I think that's great news hearing your head coach this early in training camp when they did draft a running back this year, say that they want him on the field for 83, 84% of the snaps, because where Jeanty was great last year was in the red zone and passing situations. And if he can get that kind of usage out of him, I think for fantasy football purposes, for Raiders fans out there who are hoping for more in year two, with one member of their big three offensively with Mendoza and Jeanty and Brock Bowers, these are all very good things to read this offseason. We'll see how it's implemented this year. I would also maybe give Clint Kubiak a little bit of a notch above Pete Carroll as an offense designer, because Pete Carroll was such a defensive guy for the majority of his career. I kind of love this move.
Well, he's going to just naturally be better because they knew nothing was coming from the offense. They knew Geno, the offensive passing game was putrid. So now you finally have what you think is a quarterback, whoever it is with Kirk or Mendoza, that you're scared of a little bit. I'm surprised they didn't go get a receiver, though. Like, that receiving room
still
is
good.
Easily one of the worst. I mean, I don't see them involved in the AJ Brown sweepstakes because you don't want to get AJ Brown with Fernando Mendoza, because AJ Brown complains with Jalen Hurts, who won him a Super Bowl and got AJ Brown a lot of stats. The last thing you want is Mendoza having to worry about some diva star wide receiver that's complaining about targets. I want this. I need that. There's Diggs out there. There's Tyreek Hill, who's now a DJ in Miami, but could also be a wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's just DJing right now. He'll be fine. He'll be in Kansas City by September.
I mean, he helped launch Patrick Mahomes' career. Patrick Mahomes may not be the man he is today without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls without him, but Tyreek Hill, unbelievable. I'm curious, though, with the Raiders. You look at their schedule. Listen to the schedule.
Oh, it's brutal.
But not off the jump. You have the Dolphins. That's not brutal. The Chargers. Okay. The Saints. Then you get the Chiefs. Then you get the Patriots. Then you get the Bills, Rams. So it heats up. The schedule, the first 3 weeks, Chargers are a good team. But you get the Saints and the Dolphins in there. Like, are they really going to wait until November to start Mendoza? Like, is it gonna? Because you're not throwing him there.
You and I see this so differently, though. I probably wouldn't play Mendoza at all this year. You have Kirk Cousins in there. I understand that's not progressing Mendoza at all, but I think he could probably use a year sitting and learning behind somebody. If they're gonna play him, it's gonna be halfway through this year.
I just think, though, then why did you take Mendoza?
Why did you get Kirk Cousins?
I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have got Kirk Cousins. It's one thing, like Mendoza. If this was, let's just say for argument's sake, Arch Manning had come out this year, and Arch Manning was the quarterback, then I'm with you, because Arch Manning didn't play that much. Arch Manning has played 1 year of college football. He had a few good weeks at the end of the season when he took on Michigan, lit him up in that Citrus Bowl, whatever it was. He is not an experienced passer. That's where I'm like, sit him. Mendoza played at Indiana, played at Cal. He's played multiple seasons of college football at the highest level with different programs. The knock on Mendoza would be elite level talent. The knock on Mendoza is not, he's not ready. He's probably the most surefire guy ready to play that we've seen in years. So I'm with you in the sense of, okay, maybe you don't throw him in there week 1. Fine. But you can throw him in there against the Chiefs or the Bills or the Rams. Like, absolutely not.
I think they told you a lot when they went on and got Kirk Cousins, because easily Kirk Cousins could play this whole season and it'd be fine. It'd be a respectable quarterback to have. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but they easily could do that. All right, Talkback mic is open on the free iHeartRadio app. Just tap the little red microphone icon while you're listening. Do us a favor. Also hit the little plus button. That helps us out with the bosses quite a bit. And you can leave us a message, your thoughts on this Padres team right now. We'll play some of them back throughout the hour here. One of you will win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Sammy, Big 3, hour number 2. Go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends?
I mean, coworkers?
It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Rich on YouTube saying, I had Ashton Jeanty on my fantasy team last year, and Chip Kelly load managed him for most of the year. Also, why Chip Kelly lost his job halfway through the year as the offensive coordinator of the Raiders.
Remember when we got Chip Kelly fired, when we were talking about him on ad nauseum for like
I'm
2 weeks?
pretty sure I said it on one show. I was like, man, if I'm the Raiders, I'm doing something wacky, and I'm firing my OC mid-year, like 2 days later.
Because we had Slee on. Remember, he's like, what did Chip Kelly ever do to you guys? I'm like, just not run Ashton Jeanty for fantasy players.
I was pissed because he was on my fantasy team. All right, Sammy, where are we going?
All right, this whole college football playoff drama just gets juicier. So now we have head coaches.
Sark is walking it back.
No, I wasn't going to say that, but that's funny too. Okay, So we got drama. So the whole 2014 playoff that's being proposed, you have Paul Feinbaum today said it is literally, quote, the worst decision that college football could ever make going to 2014 playoff. Per The Athletic right now, Kirby Smart just said, quote, he's not afraid in all for an SEC playoff where they break from the NCAA in entirety.
Wait, who's saying this?
Kirby Smart, head coach of Georgia, saying that he's fine with an entirely SEC playoff that is not with the rest of college football.
All right, then just do it, man. Do the 2 super conferences in college football. Split it in half. Go 20 teams each conference. Take the top 40 in the country. And that's all that anyone will care about from now on. That's what this is, right? You get the winner of the SEC, the winner of the Big Ten. Let's just say.
But he's saying you won't playing.
No, I know.
Okay,
all
right.
What I'm saying is they're going to go to 2 super conferences. This was the theory that got thrown out 10 years ago when conference realignment first started being brought up, that this was even a possibility where everyone said we're going down this road. Kirby Smart is just advancing this road. Now you have these 2 mega conferences, 20 to 30 teams each. They play against each other. They have their own separate playoffs. And then at the very end, those 2 teams play against each other. That's your winner of college football. That's what it sounds like Kirby Smart is saying.
That's a good point. Maybe that is. From what I read from the headline in the article, it sounded
just
like
saying, like, give us our own thing.
Like we're our own.
We're seceding from the union.
Yes.
Get ready for a civil war.
First
Kirby.
off,
it's happening.
I don't understand where the SEC is freaking out. They're not what they once were. The Big Ten has won the last 3 college football national championships with Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. And USC just got the number 1 recruiting class, and UCLA is on the come. And Washington and Oregon, you got to think, are not far behind. So this whole, for the 2010s, when it was Alabama every year, or then Georgia went back to back, and it was Clemson they were facing with the ACC, they do not have as much power as they think. Like, the pinnacle of college football now is the Big Ten, and God help the SEC if somehow Notre Dame, which hasn't happened, ever joined the Big Ten because of geographic reasons. I mean, that is the best conference in college football. It's not even close, especially with Nick Saban not there anymore at Alabama. So this is crazy. I don't
think Kirby's a little scared because a basketball team just won the national championship out of the Big Ten.
Yeah, and how many? So Mansour Delane went to the Chiefs in the first round, in the first top 10. Outside of that, if I'm remembering this correctly, there was not another SEC player taken in the top 10. If you would have told someone that 10 years ago when Georgia had 9 of their 11 guys starters on defense go in the first round, get drafted, that a top 10, there would be 1 SEC player, there is a transition of power, and the SEC does not have as much power as they think they do.
See, the problem with every 2 weeks there being this new big college football drama, whether it was expanding all the way out to 24 teams, which that was the Big Ten that said that a couple weeks ago, right?
The Big Ten wants the 24.
So no matter what it is, the problem, like the next 5 years are so crucial for the future of college football as a whole that just throwing things out willy-nilly like this seems a little irresponsible. Maybe that's just me. That's why last week when we talked about this, I kind of threw my hands up and said, just do whatever you're going to do. Tell us about it after the fact. I'm getting sick of this he said, she said thing. Sammy, what's next?
858 is the big SEC bowl.
That's coming. I'm telling you. And it's not good for everybody. I'm just saying that right now.
Okay, let's go to, per Adam Schefter, as of a few minutes ago, Pro Bowl wide receiver Nico Collins and the Texans reached an agreement on an adjusted contract that guarantees his salary for the next 2 seasons. Basically gets a $9 million cash increase, as well as $8 million. Interesting year for the Texans. They didn't pay CJ Stroud. They're trying to pay Will Anderson, despite them being in the same draft class. Where are we viewing the Texans? Should they be the favorites in that division, despite Jacksonville being on the come? Like, how are we looking at the AFC South?
So CJ Stroud's bad season a year ago, and that's what it was. It was a bad season. Just saved the Texans so much money because they didn't have to pay him. And if CJ Stroud would have been great last year, and if Nico Collins had 1 less injury, they would be having to pay Nico Collins top of the market wide receiver money because he is that good. I think Nico Collins is probably the 4th best wide receiver in football right now when healthy. That's my opinion. And CJ Stroud being inept a year ago hurt Nico Collins' stock. The Texans right now can be a very good team. I got a lot of faith in that defense. I have very little faith in CJ Stroud. But if he can turn it around, all of a sudden you're paying him next year.
Right. The Texans are in a weird spot because
great defense.
Unbelievable defense. But the problem is, you got Will Anderson, you got Lassiter, you got a ton of guys on that defense. But they feel a lot to me, like the San Francisco 49ers, in that the Niners are more talented, are a more talented team, but it's about the roster. And you're going to get mad at me with your boy Purdy, who I will give more credit to than CJ Stroud because he's done a lot more in the postseason. Okay.
You mean like gotten to a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Maybe would have gotten to another one if his arm hadn't been snapped in half.
I'm not going to get into the whole Brock Purdy debate right now.
He's great.
That'll be hours on end. I can get into why Brock Purdy is not. But I'll give your boy Purdy some credit. Went on the road and beat Philadelphia, but it's about the roster. People outside of Ben Fletcher are not sitting here going like Brock Purdy is a generational franchise-defining quarterback.
When have I ever said those words?
It's about, well, that you've certainly insinuated that Brock
I think
Purdy's
he's
on that
perfect for this 49ers team.
Exactly. Perfect for this 49ers team because it's about the defense and Kyle Shanahan running his offense. This is what DeMeco Ryans is dealing with in Houston. It is a great defense. You have Nico Collins. You have Woody Marks, the young running back at USC who kind of broke out last year, and a decent offensive line. But is CJ Stroud really the trigger man? So to your point, I think they saved him a lot of money with him having a bad year. But the problem is if he has a good year this year, but not, I don't think anyone's confusing CJ Stroud for a top 5 quarterback. He's going to get chipped out. And I think you're looking at a Kirk Cousins, Minnesota Vikings type situation where it's mediocrity.
That's totally fair. And I think the biggest problem with CJ Stroud last year was the turnovers. And if you're not going to take care of the football, it's one thing to not be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in football. It's another thing to be constantly hurting your team. And the interceptions and the fumbles were the one reason Houston could have gone to a Super Bowl last year, folks. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like the AFC was down. They had the best defense in the field.
The Patriots didn't even put them away when they threw 4 interceptions in the first half.
And a bunch of fumbles. Like Houston was right there and probably you could argue should have gone. But if it wasn't for CJ Stroud's fumble. So it's one thing to be a pretty good quarterback on a really good team, which is what I would say Brock Purdy is, a pretty good quarterback on a really good roster.
That's fair.
It's another thing to be a quarterback that's constantly hurting a really good team. And that's what CJ Stroud did a year ago. So we'll see. This is a huge year for him. It's a huge year for the team. All right, we got a bunch of talkbacks coming in. We'll play some of them on the other side. We'll also get to Big 3, number 3. It's a juicy one. That's coming up next. Kevin Acee at 1:30. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. or San Diego Fair. Once upon a fair, there was a tale of food, fun, friends, family, laughter, tradition, music, amazement, and more. The San Diego County Fair, the biggest and longest running event in San Diego County, making its triumphant return from June 10th through July 5th. Closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Visit sdfair.com to plan your happily ever after. We got 4 tickets up for grabs, 4 pack of tickets, not 4 individual tickets. So we will give them away via the talkback, Mike. If you open up,
sit with some random people for also won tickets on the show.
Right. If you go to the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, you'll notice a little red microphone icon. That is the talkback mic. If you leave us a talkback today, tell us your thoughts about the Padres. You are automatically in the running to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. We got a bunch of these. Let's rip through some of them. Sammy.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Eric, driving home from Coronado. I'm a diehard Padre fan, but man, it is hard to watch right now. Can't score any runs. Not giving up, but definitely disappointed.
I think a lot of people feel that way right now,
very
Eric.
fair.
It's good that, look, it's hard to complain about a team that's 10 games over 500. It's hard to complain about a team that's in that good a spot in terms of the standings, but the way they're winning games, man, I would agree. It's a little tough to watch at this point, especially when you have a game like yesterday where they had so many opportunities to do something. And Manny Machado leaves 6 men on base by himself. It's brutal.
That's what Eric said. It's hard to watch. Like even some of these wins, like Saturday night, 2-0. Great that they won.
Right.
It just feels so much more stressful. The Padres have rarely had this year because most of their big time wins have been comebacks late. They rarely had a game where it was like they won 8-2 and it was never in doubt and they got to use their B team in the bullpen.
Right. Game 1 against the A's. Perfect example. What was the final score there? Like 7-2?
7-4.
7-4?
But even that game, the A's jumped out to a lead early.
Right.
And then they came. So like, I know they matched in the first inning. So it's like, it's again, glad they won, but these games aren't easy. They're very like stressful games and it's like, shouldn't be this way at the end of May.
Can you play the third talk back down? I think that's the one that came in.
Handyman Matt?
Yes. 29 seconds long.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Handyman Matt here. Was at the game yesterday for our 11th annual Phillies versus Padres game outing. Whew. The Padres got shut out by my Phillies. They didn't show much. Tatis got on base, but that's about it. Can I talk about another thing? My wife, now full Padres fan, despite having a Phillies logo tattooed on her ankle. I think I need to cheese grater her. What do you think?
Oh my!
I think that's assault, Handyman Matt.
Wow. Okay.
But welcome your wife over to the party. All right. You know, the Phillies tattoo, that's just ink. What does she bleed? Does she bleed brown and gold? Because that's what it sounds like to me. So full Padres fan, even with a Phillies tattoo, is a bold move. But welcome to the party.
Handyman Matt talking some mess, man. He's what do you say? The Padres?
The Padres. He did call them the Padres.
That's wild.
To be fair, kind of funny. But the Padres did get their asses kicked yesterday. It also doesn't get easier in this series. Like Aaron Nola is going tonight for the Phillies. Like that's
what. And then I mean, this is what's frustrating, and people have jumped on me about this for being negative, but I'm like,
that's all right. Just live your life.
In the end, I don't care. In the NL, like the teams that you're gonna have to beat if you want to, because the prize should be the World Series for everybody. I think everyone in San Diego, I can speak for San Diego, is tired of just going to the playoffs and losing in the first round or second round. Like San Diego's elevated past the, hey, it's cool that the team is relevant. It's all about the World Series. The Dodgers series, won game 1, lost games 2 and 3. Brewers series, won 1 game, game 2, lost the other 2 games. Cubs series, won game 1, lost games 2 and 3. We'll see what happens in this series against the Phillies. But all the top NL teams that you were going to have to face, the Tigers, same thing, lost 2 games there. The one team I'll give the Padres credit for beating is smoking the Mariners. Mariners, twice. So I give them credit for that. Mariners haven't been quite as good this year. But if you want to get to a World Series, you have to beat top tier NL competition. And the Padres have shown they can do it over 1 game. They have not shown it this year that they can win big 3-game sets against big time teams in the NL.
Now, I will say, just for clarity's sake, they're 31-22, so 9 games over 500, which again is tough to complain about. 90% of teams that have been in the spot they're in right now by Memorial Day have made the playoffs over the last 4 seasons since the playoffs were expanded to 6 teams per league. So they're sitting good, but is just making the playoffs good enough anymore? I would say no. Sammy, we got one more we want to play here. ahead.
This is Efren from National City. The Padres season so far is like a roller coaster. So many ups and downs, making me crazy, and that's the way it's going to be for the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season, I hope not, man. I hope they can start to steady this thing out.
That's what I'm not worried about them in terms of making the playoffs per se. Well, I take that back. I think there could be the way it's going right now, there could be a nosedive at some point.
Right. And not to compare it to the NFL, but occasionally when a team gets off to a really good start, but they're winning a bunch of close games, sometimes the second half of the season, those games start going the opposite direction.
I just think that if the goal is the World Series, I think it's hard to, if you watch this team right now, look at this team and go, they're playing at a World Series clip. Now, maybe they could change that. Maybe these guys get on a heater. Maybe they have a big trade deadline acquisition. We know AJ Preller has certainly been money in some of these trade deadlines, but it's hard watching the team right now because you don't feel like the record reflects the team's play.
Text line loves Handyman Matt, so that's good.
Yeah,
Handyman Matt, do not cheese grate your wife, please. Sammy, there's actually a talkback that just came in from our friend Sonia, who I think makes a really, really good point. Has it refreshed on your screen yet? It already came.
We got it right here.
Okay, so let's hear from Sonia real quick because this is a great point.
Hi, this is Sonia from Lakeside. Just wanted to say, I mean, I don't know what people expect from the Padres. They're not spending what the Dodgers are spending, and they're right there with them. So, I mean, besides not being able to beat the Dodgers, I don't see what the problem is. Thank you.
Well, that is the problem, isn't it, Sonia? I think at one point the Padres are going to be faced off with the Dodgers in the postseason this year. I wouldn't feel great about that right now if I'm the Padres, understanding that this does go to if it's a wild card situation, which it won't be, or if it's an NLCS to NLDS, I don't know that the Padres would have the upper hand right now. It's all about getting to the postseason at this time. Padres are doing a great job of that. They're 31-22. That's fantastic. We all would have signed up for that record long before the season beginning. But at this point right now, if anyone, and Sonia, you included, can honestly say you think the Padres would be well suited to beat the Dodgers in a playoff series right now, would you say yes, they are? Because I would not.
Well, and Sonia, I appreciate the talk back.
And for that case, the Brewers also.
Right. My pushback on that would be, everyone signed up to play, number one. So the whole spending money argument, like we can gripe about that in the offseason.
And I do think the Padres are like 5th or 6th in terms of payroll.
Right. And if you're going to look at who the Dodgers spent money on, Edwin Diaz has been out since the first 3 weeks of the season. So their star closer that they signed has been out. Kyle Tucker has been struggling mightily. I know he had the big hit on Wednesday against the Dodgers, but against the Padres, he has not been great. And the Dodgers also, Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, making up a big portion of that amount of money spent, are not pitching right now and didn't pitch in that series against the Padres. So I hear your point. It is frustrating when you look at, we get into that in the offseason about how, some teams are allowed to just go replenish weaknesses at whatever rate because they can just throw money at it. But at the end of the day, that's the team you're going to have to beat. And until the collective bargaining gets switched, it's not going to change. So how do you go beat them? Because the performance on field right now does not give you the feeling, and they're not, because they just lost 2 or 3 games to the Dodgers, and the one game they won was 1-0. And I'd be hard pressed to find people that think that you're going to be beating the Dodgers in the postseason 1-0.
All right, we got Kevin Acee coming up next, our Padres insider. There is news on Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove. We'll talk about it with Kev. We'll also talk about this Padres team in the lineup that is. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres back tonight for Game 2 against the Phillies. Aaron Nola will be on the mound for Philadelphia, while Randy Vasquez will be going for the Pods. That game will be at 6:40 as Padres try to snap a 2-game losing streak. In the NBA tonight, 5:30, we got the Thunder playing host to the Spurs. If the Spurs beat up on them in Game 4, the Thunder are currently 4.5-point favorites in that one. And then in the NHL, potential closeout at home on home ice for the Vegas Golden Knights against the Colorado Avalanche. That game will be at 6 p.m. Star Nathan McKinnon for the Avs will be back tonight, but despite missing the last few games. Choosing the right home service company is just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. It's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
Padres Report with Kevin Acee is brought to you by Hamul Casino Resort. Hey players, this is all yours. Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. We got Kevin Acee from the Union Tribune, the San Diego Union Tribune, joining us here. Also, the Padres Collective on YouTube. You can watch him and John Schaefer and our buddy Matt Devine weekly talk about these Padres. Kev, how are you?
Fantastic.
Been a nice little homestand for you. You've been chilling in San Diego for about a week and a half now. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's the only one of the season that's this long. It's kind of cool, but then you get ready. You're ready to go back out.
And no longer the big long commute to work that you have because you live so close by, don't you, Kev? All right, these Padres, we got news on Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove. What's going on there?
Well, Joe's about to start playing catch, which is great. And they're doing things that show you that their intention is to come back and pitch for a playoff contender, probably closer to the end of the season than, the start. But that's got to be considered good news in that, they've been on the quote unquote active rest for so long. And the idea was from the start, let them take the time to get to where they can then be effective, be the guys that you expect to be attached to those names for when they come back, that they can then finish the season and be those guys. And that's kind of what the hope remains. And I think that what this, next step shows that especially for Joe, though Nick, look, it's just maybe a little bit more severe. Joe's was like a flare up or like a complication coming back from his Tommy John, and Nick's is kind of a new injury. And so he's going to take a little bit longer, but I think it's a real positive.
Do you think that the Padres might, given the fact that the starting rotation has kind of held up despite the injuries, might delay this on purpose a little bit, considering that doesn't seem like as big a need right now?
Well, that's always been the thing. Like, I think that they'll push back on me saying that, as they have in conversations, because it sounds like, oh no, we think we're fine or whatever. That's, but no, that's exactly it. Like, hey, not that they would rush them. If their starting rotation had a 7 ERA, they'd have to find another solution. They can't just make these guys well. But absolutely, the idea that they could get along without them makes them go from the start, hey, look, let's not even worry about it. We got to get these guys right. There just can't be any sort of set date or expectation on when they'll be back. And to some extent, not even if they'll be back. It just has to be, let them get right.
Kevin Acee, Union Tribune, joining us, our Padres insider. Kevin, Bob Nightingale put it out there that the Padres, Dodgers, Yankees, and Blue Jays would be the finals for Tariq Skubal. I don't know how we already have a Final Four this far ahead of the trade deadline, but should Padre fans be reading into this, or is this AJ being in on everything?
AJ's in on everything,
yep.
But you can read into it that like they want to upgrade the rotation if possible, and if necessary. Now we think it's going to be necessary for them to be like, they don't have to be a playoff team right now. They don't have to be a World Series team right now, but they need to be a lot better when that time of year comes around. They need to have someone that they can go out and count on to give them that sort of number one caliber game. I'm not saying like it can't be Michael King or it couldn't potentially be Nick Pivetta or Joe Musgrove, but they're probably going to go out and get someone. But that's a Bob special, and Bob's the best. But that's a Bob special. We're talking about May and we got a Final Four already. Like, I didn't read it, but like, that makes sense. Makes all the sense in the world. Probably people that are opining that in baseball, but like, that doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Where are you at with the possible? We heard the reports last week about bullpen help. Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader. How viable do you think this is? And are you surprised they're going after bullpen arms?
No, I'd mentioned that they could, but the fact is, you got to have a lead for that to help you. So, like, that is most definitely under the category of AJ talks about everything. Like, where they're at now is 70, 80, 90 guys they're talking about. And then the funnel just keeps getting smaller as you get closer. Their offense has just got to get better. I mean, that's not to say that of course they need to plan for these things, and they have to believe that their offense is going to get better, and that then, okay, what will we do then to make ourselves the best possible team for October, or even to get to October? They have to plan for that. But like right now, like, hey, how about we all concentrate on, some guys hitting?
It is interesting because we could have the same conversation we have every week about Fernando and Manny and Merrill. Fernando was on base 4 times yesterday. None of the hits really look Fernando-esque, did they? And when he was on base, he was kind of a bad base runner. But with Manny Machado, I thought the comments he had after yesterday's game, Kevin, were maybe the more fascinating ones of the season, because it was Manny Machado saying, look, when your star player doesn't knock in the 6 guys on base that were on base for him, you're probably going to lose the game. What is Manny mentally right now in front of you guys, in front of the scrums? And is it changing a little bit as the season wears on?
The scrums is different. Like, that wasn't a scrum. That was me. And like, that's just a little bit more of an as always, as any of us would be. That's a little more introspective, Manny, right? Like, there's an on-camera Manny and there's an off-camera Manny a lot of times. And like, not that he hasn't scrums like said it's me or whatever, but like he's wearing it right now. He is like, he needs to be better and he knows it. And it seems like that the more time goes on, like, well, I think also he's been working really hard, and I think that he's close. Like, I do. Like, you watch him for, what is it, 8 years now? Like, when Manny's about to go off, and that's what it looks like. Now, there's going to come a point where at whatever age, he's not going to go off. Like, I don't know when that is, but like, this is what he looks like before he goes off right now, the last 3, 4, 5, 6 days. That's what he looks like. So he knows that, and he feels good about that, but he's wearing this right now. He's wearing the burden of being the guy who's supposed to get it done in big situations and is repeatedly not doing that.
I'm curious what the sense you get from the Padres internally. Who do you think they're the most worried about between Machado, Tatis, and Merrill?
That's an interesting one. So when we say the Padres, you got to understand there's just a whole bunch of people, right? And that's one thing that AJ Preller does, and a lot of organizations, but AJ, the one I cover and I know well, AJ really likes, different opinions. And so you always have to remember, like, this is what the Padres say. Well, there's 3 different opinions. There's 5 different opinions. There's 7 different opinions, right? So depends on who you talk to, and that should tell you something, right? Like there's this trust that Manny will be Manny until he shows you he won't be Manny anymore. But the longer it goes, then you start to wonder, and they are, okay, well, what's going on here? Because we see him missing these pitches he should hit. So what's happening? There's still trust in Manny. There's absolutely like this knowledge like that Fernando has just discombobulated himself. And now for like, I would say the last, when was it? It was sometime during the Dodgers series. The at-bats were just better. Like, not every one of them. He grounded out, did some of those. There's the check swing one, but like the eye was better. He wasn't being that guy anymore. And so, it's so confounding that he has gone 223 plate appearances to start this season without a home run, that they really think that, no, he's going to finish fine, like whatever that looks like. Merrill, hey, what is the track record there? So I guess my answer to you would be Merrill if I had to choose one. But I would say the more important answer, the more telling answer is that there's different opinions in there in that organization about who to be most worried about.
Yeah, and then it's a whole nother conversation about movability of any of those guys. Not that I think we're there yet, but the names pop up definitely. Kevin, that was good stuff, and I think that was like maybe the best question I've heard Sammy ask in 2 or 3 years of knowing him. So I think we might just end it there. Is that cool with you?
Wow. I'm not sure. I want to make sure I'm on record saying I don't agree with that. I think Sam's a pro and does a lot of, has a lot of really good questions.
No, I love that question. I meant that as a compliment because he asked so many good ones. I thought that was the best one.
That one was so good. It rose above the rest of the good ones.
I thought so. It took me down a whole thought rabbit hole. I don't know if I've ever heard that question asked. Have you?
Yeah, no, I really did like it. I did like it. And it allowed me to sort of, the best questions, right? Like they kind of allow you to go another direction. And like, I try to give a direct answer to you guys, but for me, the beauty of that question and then the answer is that they're concerned about all of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be concerned about all of them too. Kev, thanks for your time today.
Right on. We'll see you.
I really didn't mean that as a dig. I thought that was a really good question.
I didn't take it as a dig. No,
well, it's the biggest question right now facing these San Diego Padres.
No, it popped in my head because I like what got me thinking about. We were having a conversation earlier about like Merrill, and it's funny. He kind of said Merrill. He said there's concern about all of them, like you said at the end, but kind of pointed to Merrill.
Right, but did Merrill just have a good first season?
Right,
that's the concern about him.
We've heard this so much with Manny of, well, Manny always gets his numbers. Despite how he looks at times during the season, he always gets his numbers. Tatis, the way you want to look at it, yeah, he's hitting the ball. The power is not there, but you feel like at some point, people have made, if you're pro Tatis getting better, that, at some point he's going to start hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He's hitting the ball hard. Like Merrill has avoided a lot of criticism probably because of Tatis and Machado. They're the bigger stars. They get paid more money. So rightfully so. But the Merrill piece, I think, is going to start being more of a conversation because you're like, we haven't seen it.
Who was the player with the Orioles? Was it Chris Davis, who had that amazing season, signed the fat contract, was never the same player ever again?
Yeah.
And then he ended up retiring with like 5 years left on the contract. Like that would be the worry. That's obviously that's disaster of like cataclysmic.
No, I know what you're saying though, especially in baseball.
But did Jackson Merrill just have that year where he popped and all of a sudden everyone got excited about him and then he becomes something else?
Because especially in Major League Baseball, we see guys. Who was Connor Griffin for the Pirates? Now he's probably going to be a star,
19-year-old.
But at the time he signed his massive deal, he had come up and I believe he hadn't gotten a hit yet in the Major League Baseball and signed for a couple $100 million. Like you pay guys off what you've been projecting in your farm system for years. When guys get paid in the NBA and the NFL, despite being top draft picks, like second contracts, you've at least seen it at some level. Maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe they flame out their new spot, but you've seen it when a big running back gets a deal or a big star guard gets a deal. You have highlights and things to point to of why this player is getting that. Baseball's tricky because it really is based off projection. So you start having that conversation about Merrill, and unless he kind of changes his pace, it's going to get louder.
It's also crazy that he became such a fan favorite so early in his career, that he became such a leader, I think, so early in his career. And then year 2 had to deal with so many injuries, and year 3 so far has been a bit of a disaster. All right, we will play our last remaining talkbacks on the other side. We will give away the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can leave a talkback right now with your thoughts on this Padres team that can get you in the running to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Just open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, tap the little red microphone icon, and you can win. We'll play one next, and we will declare our winner on the other side. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 and iHeartRadio present our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival, the biggest music event of the year. Legendary performances from the biggest names in music and once-in-a-lifetime collaborations. We're going to announce the complete lineup for this year's show and let you know how you could win tickets before they go on sale. Everything you need to know happens next Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Another once-in-a-lifetime music event from iHeartRadio and San Diego Sports 760. Hey, this weekend we got international action. The newly announced Team USA soccer roster will be in action. They are playing on Sunday at 12:15 against Senegal in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're going to hear that game exclusively in San Diego here on 760.
You see Pochettino on the Today Show for the roster release, the head coach?
I didn't see any of it. I did see that people are a little perturbed by some of his choices for Team USA. They said it's very Pochettino in the fact that he took some big risks.
Well, I heard him talking about how Gio Reyna, remember he was that whole drama of the last World Cup with Berhalter, who Reyna was like one of the up and coming stars for Team USA, right. And he wasn't playing. And I don't know the whole story, so I'm not getting into it, but I know like his parents then went to the soccer federation because they were like best friends with the Berhalters and like filed a complaint, kind of got him fired. So this World Cup is going to be very interesting in that this was supposed to be the year that the U.S. had circled that they were going to break through, because it was, you have a star in Pulisic. Balogun is a legit striker. You finally have a striker, because they had been making Pulisic play at the striker spot for years when he's really more of a winger. And like you have Tyler Adams, you have Serginho Dest, like you have some young stars on this team, but are you finally going to break through and do something? You know, I'm not an expert on everything World Cup, but for all accounts, they got a pretty good draw in the draw stage. But hopefully they can make a little bit of a run this year, because if they don't, I don't really know what the answer is, because it feels like this is the same group they keep running back.
So at least at first glimpses, the decisions made today could lead to this being a one and done for Pochettino if it doesn't work out well, because there's a lot of names being left off of the World Cup roster that a lot of people thought would be surefires. The one that comes to mind and the one that's being talked about the most is Tanner Tessman, who is a midfielder for Olympique Lyon. Who is being left off the team because of a muscle strain that was thought to be going to be ready just fine and in time for the World Cup actually beginning. But he's been shut down for a little over a month getting ready for the World Cup. And apparently he's pissed that he's not on the World Cup team. So there's a lot of people out there saying if this does not work out for Pochettino, this could be a one and done situation as the head coach.
Well, right. It is, because he had a lot of success over in the Premier League, but from what I know, he's never had the most international success. But it's so odd when you look at American soccer, because the MLS has been growing. I mean, hell, we've seen it here with SDFC. I mean, SDFC is coming to the city and drawn a huge fan base immediately. It hasn't really taken years to develop it. It's become a big deal. Now, part of that maybe is because they won immediately, but I do think just the city embraced them from the jump. And like America would be towards the top if it was our number one sport.
Right.
But if you think about it, you're like, you know how many great wingers and strikers are playing in the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball or all the other sports?
It's the same argument that gets made about track and field. It's the same argument that gets made about boxing and why we don't have more international superstars in boxing here in the States. It's because a lot of them are playing left tackle right now.
Right. Because if you're in England and you're too big to be a soccer player, you're going to box.
Right.
Like there's not really, you're going to box or you're going to play soccer if you're going to be an athlete. There's not, I mean, here there's a gazillion choices. So it does feel like a massive World Cup. I'm excited for it though. I wonder what is the bar for Pochettino? Like, is it
get one win in the knockout round? That's my bar. And you know me. I know this thing. All right, Sammy.
Ben sets the bar.
I do. Let's play the most recent talkback that came in. I'm not sure who this one's from, but it looked funny when I saw it. And once you pull that up, we can do that. I will run a random number generator for all the talkbacks that came in this hour, and we'll announce the winner. But here's the most recent talkback, which I found hysterical.
What's up, guys? This is Eddie from PH. Will Eric Hosmer be an all-star this year?
Nope, he will not. Maybe an all-star podcaster. I win an award for that, but Eric Hosmer will not be an all-star for this year's Padres season. Does that one count as a talkback about the Padres? I'm gonna say yes.
You send a talkback in. You get entered.
All right. The winner that I have pulled out is at 114 today. It is Ephraim from National City.
Ephraim,
congratulations. You are heading to the San Diego County Fair with a 4-pack of tickets. That's going along with Scott, who won earlier today. Be listening tomorrow. We got pairs of tickets to Chicago at the fair and a 4-pack of fair tickets by themselves on tomorrow's show as well. And I know Schaefer and Sleewell will have that coming up in a little bit too. Sammy, what do you have coming up today on Going Along with Sammy?
I got Chino, of course. These normal Monday slots. They got pushed to Tuesday.
Chino Iglesias, cousin of Gabriel Iglesias.
Yes. I mean, yeah. Chino's a star around this building. Chino, I love getting to talk to Chino. Besides Chino, I can get into the Padres a little bit, look at some underlying metrics, and get in the NBA Finals a little bit. And if the Knicks actually have a chance, probably there'll be some Cavs bashing as well. So stay tuned for all that in the next hour.
Cavs bashing is good. What are your thoughts, real quick, before we get out of here, on all the stuff today? I know Mad Dog went out there going crazy, saying LeBron's not going to the Cleveland Cavaliers, blah, blah, blah. But it does sound like there's a growing sense around basketball that LeBron could be going to the Cavs next year because of how they exited this year's tournament.
We're going to get into that one a little bit, but it's he doesn't want to take a pay cut.
So who would they have to get chopped? Is it Mitchell or is it James Harden?
Harden. It all plays into, is he going to take a pay cut? Because if LeBron's not going to take a pay cut, which is the reporting that we're hearing today from Brian Windhorst, he's not going anywhere. And if the Cavs are dumb enough to pay LeBron a max level salary to swap him and Harden, like LeBron is better than Harden, that's still not getting you to.
And when you say he's not going anywhere, you mean he's not playing because the Lakers aren't going to give him that much?
The Lakers aren't going to give him a max level salary. The Knicks are not going to give him a max level salary. The Cavs aren't. Outside of the Warriors, who have Butler also who are taking up a max level salary, there is not that much money that LeBron is going to want, and he's going to have to settle for taking less of one of these teams.
Fascinating. All right, well, that's coming up next. Go along with Sammy here on San Diego Sports 760. I'll be back with you tomorrow with more fair tickets to give away. Familiarize yourself with the free iHeartRadio app. The only way you're winning them is on the Talkback mic. San Diego Sports 760. Thank you for being here. I'm out live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Acee. Padres and Phillies are downtown getting set for game 2 of their series tonight. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for Philly and Randy Vasquez going for the Friars. First pitch is set for 6:40. In the NBA, we got game 5 of the Western Conference Finals between the Spurs and Thunder. That's going to tip off a little bit after 5:30. At some point, body pain may creep in and become your reality that day, but Acee is here to keep you moving. One pill keeps you up to 12 hours, gives you up to 12 hours of body pain relief, so don't let pain hold you back. Try Acee today. Use as directed.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
Welcome back. 4-day weekend for everybody. A lot of data on the Padres we're going to get to just in a second. 30 minutes. Chino Iglesias coming in for his usual Monday appointment, coming in on Tuesday. Excited to get to talk to Chino about everything going on in the sports world. In about 15 minutes, we're going to get into James Harden. Listen, for someone who is a veteran of the NBA to have these kind of comments post-game after you just got swept by the New York Knicks, we're going to play those for you because I couldn't believe it. I thought it was AI when it was sent to me by my friend, and it is 100% real. Plus some rumors about LeBron not wanting to take a pay cut for Cleveland. We're going to get into all that coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll start with the pods. And Brian, I know I sent you Kevin Acee sound. We'll get to it in a second. It's this weekend felt like a microcosm of the Padres season. So Friday, the A's come out, jump out to a lead, 2-0. Padres come back with Manny Machado, hit the 2-run shot, and they end up winning 7-4. Then on Saturday, the A's out-hit them 4-2, but the Padres win 2-0. Again, testament to that bullpen. Mason Miller, once you knew that thing got to the ninth inning, it was over. I mean, against his old team, you just felt like this game was wraps. Sunday, lackluster offense. A's came out, got a homer in the first inning. And then yesterday, the bats are completely lifeless. They scored 2 runs on Sunday, none yesterday. And the Phillies on 3 hits come into Petco Park and get a win. And we're looking over the last week, as I'm pulling up all the scores here to make sure we're accurate. I mean, the Padres offense has scored over the last week 0 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 7 runs. We'll take that. 0 runs, 4 runs, and 1 run. 7 run. They scored north of a couple runs only a few times. I mean, this offense is getting hard to watch. Manny Machado with the 173 batting average, leaves 6 players on base yesterday. Tatis has a few hits the other day on Sunday, but you're like sitting there going, there's a lot of bloop hits. The contact is not there. And you're starting to see what is happening when the rest of the lineup is not having the start that they originally had. You're talking about your Ramon Laureanos, your Bogarts have been pretty solid all year. Gavin Sheets was raking there for a week or so. So I asked Kevin Acee earlier because it feels like a largely intact the pitching staff. The bullpen has been great. I asked Kevin Acee earlier on our show about who do the Padres have the most concern about internally? Is it Jackson Merrill? Is it Fernando Tatis? Or is it Manny Machado? This is what Kevin Acee had to say.
It's an interesting one. So when we say the Padres, you got to understand there's just a whole bunch of people, right? And that's one thing that AJ Preller does, and a lot of organizations. But AJ, the one I cover and I know well, AJ really likes different opinions, and so you always have to remember, like, this is what the Padres say. Well, there's 3 different opinions. There's 5 different opinions. There's 7 different opinions, right? So depends on who you talk to, and that should tell you something, right? Like there's this trust that Manny will be Manny until he shows you he won't be Manny anymore. But the longer it goes, then you start to wonder, and they are, okay, well, what's going on here? Because we see him missing these pitches he should hit. So what's happening? There's still trust in Manny. There's absolutely like this knowledge like that Fernando has just discombobulated himself. And now for I would say the last, when was it? It was sometime during the Dodgers series. The at-bats were just better. Like, not every one of them. He grounded out, did some of those. There's the check swing one, but the eye was better. He wasn't being that guy anymore. And so, and there's just it's so confounding that he has gone 200. Is it 223? 223 plate appearances to start this season without a home run. That they really think that no, he's going to finish fine, like whatever that looks like. Merrill, hey, what is the track record there? So I guess my answer to you would be Merrill if I had to choose one. But I would say the more important answer, the more telling answer is that there's different opinions in there, in that organization about who to be most worried about.
You do get the sense in Texas what your thoughts are. 70470, start your message with team or shoot us a call, 877-767-4760, or the little talk back on the iHeartRadio app. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Who are you most concerned about? Because Jackson Merrill's interesting. Jackson Merrill has evaded a lot of the criticism, to some extent, rightfully so, in that Tatis is the big moneymaker and Machado. Those are the two stars. We all thought in San Diego that after his rookie season, when he came up, lit the world on fire, moving from shortstop to the outfield, and he was tremendous that first year, that you're like, oh, we're looking at another superstar in San Diego. Like, this guy could be a big time player for the Padres and kind of add to this core. And it's been a few years. So year one, he's unreal. Year two, he gets a pass because he started out hot the first couple weeks of the season, gets the big contract, then he gets hurt. And when he came back from injury, he was never really the same player. But I think people took it with a little bit of a grain of salt. You were going to go through some sophomore slumps. We see it in the NFL all the time. Second-year quarterbacks do not look the same as first-year QBs. And with the injury, you're like, he wasn't able to get a full kind of season under him to work through those slumps. He has not been very good this year. And yes, we're going to focus on Manny Machado at a 173 batting average. And the no home run stat, it's a ticker every day. How many days until Fernando Tatis hits a home run? But Jackson Merrill's quietly not been having a very good season. And because of those other guys, it's kind of evaded a lot of that talk, because a lot of the discourse and conversation has been around Fernando and Manny. But I also think if you're looking at, I think Merrill would be the answer. I think I would be most concerned about Merrill. Manny, we always have the thing, Manny gets his numbers no matter what it is. That's true. Now, Manny also is getting up there in age. At one of these points, Kevin Acee said it either in that or in another part of the interview. He's like, at some point, he's not going to get his numbers. Now, Manny, the batting average has been atrocious. Yesterday was very glaring because of the 6 runners left on base, bases loaded opportunity. And to Manny Machado's credit, to his credit, he owned it postgame with Kevin Acee. He said, he's like, when your star player leaves 6 on base, there's no one to point to but yourself. And he's right. But the batting average is awful, 173. And Fernando, it just feels like it's the same conversation. Maybe once he hits his first home run, the hope is that he's going to rip off a bunch of these, and that we're talking about the launch angle and the swing mechanics. And again, I'm not a swing coach. I'm not going to get into the whole swing mechanics and he needs to throw his hip like this. I have no clue. But, we hear about him hitting the ball on the ground and that it's going to break through. What's happening, though, is the rest of the team, the rest of the offense is not having quite as torrid of start as they were. And they've carried this team to the record they have. And I am not going to come on here and point at certain players when they have bad games. And the Freddie Fermins and Gavin Cheese has been phenomenal. But if he has a bad game, I'm not pointing at them. This is on the big three. Because if you're going to beat one of the top teams in the NL, look at their record against teams in the NL this year. You have the Dodgers. You went 1-2 against. It was great seeing the pitching matchup, the pitching duel night one. Andujar gets the home run, gets after Yoshinobu Yamamoto a little bit in that one shot. You win the game. You lose games 2 and 3. Game 3 was pretty pathetic, losing 4-0. And Randy Vasquez kept you in the game. We remember Randy Vasquez, Shohei Ohtani hits the home run on the first pitch. They had runners on base in the first. Vasquez gets out of it. In the second inning, the Dodgers score a run, left runners on base. Vasquez kept you in it. The Dodgers, I believe, left 7 or 8 runners on base in that game, and they kept it in a ball game. And then Tatis, we all know with the grounding and the double play at that crucial point. Let's go back to the Brewers. You're 1-2 against them. Outside of Gavin Sheets having that unbelievable ninth inning against Uribe, their star closer, after Mizorowski had mowed down the Padres lineup for most of the game. They come back and win that one, 1-2. The Cubbies, they take down the Cubbies night one in Petco Park. Offense comes alive. One of the most complete victories I've seen in the Padres all year. Games 2 and 3 feel a little lifeless. So the Padres have proven. Let me backtrack that. Well, on our text line, our talkbacks, our calls, I think people are split. I think some people are like, hey, why are people jumping on the team? Look at the record. Look at where they're at. They're still in the division race. Why are people getting after them? Then you have the other people who are looking at this where I look at it from a World Series perspective. I think as San Diegans, as all of us in San Diego, I think I can speak for everyone that everyone's past the, hey, it's cool if the Padres are relevant. Like that was a mindset for a while, was when the Padres 7 years ago started getting back in the picture, because 15 years ago they were awful. They were giving away tickets to that ballpark and then the lower bowl. I mean, that was when Will Myers was the best player on the team. Not exactly a happy time in San Diego. The team, though, has built up over the years that they are a competitive ball club that people expect to be in the postseason. But in San Diego, I think we've all graduated past that. That's great. That's great that is the bar. That is the bar that you have to make the postseason. If you look at it from a World Series perspective, can this team go win a World Series? There is still a lot of time to get this roster right. But as of right now, when they step up in competition in the NL, they don't win. You're going to have to beat the Brewers. You're going to have to beat the Dodgers. You're going to have to beat the Cubs. And they haven't performed against those teams. I'll give them credit in the AL against the Mariners, going 6-0 against those that set. The Mariners haven't been the same team this year, but the Mariners are a damn good ball club. They deserve a lot of credit for that. They lost a series against the Tigers. They went 1-2 there. So I hear this, like AJ Preller, the report last week. There was a report, if you didn't see it, the Padres were looking at Aroldis Chapman and Josh Hader for more bullpen help. And off the jump, my first reaction was, why would the Padres be looking at bullpen help when they have the best bullpen in baseball, or one of the best bullpens in baseball? Why are you looking there? Why aren't you looking at the bats? And now I kind of get it. I kind of get it if you're AJ Preller, because I'm sure if AJ Preller sitting up in his office, and I'm sure the entire pitching staff, starting in bullpen, are like, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? Because they are putting this team in positions to win night in, night out, and they are having to be perfect to win ball games because the offense, and mainly the big three, Merrill, Machado, and Tatis, are not doing their part. And like we look at, they're 30th in batting average with a 219. On base OPS, on base plus slugging, 29th overall at 657. Run scored 211. That's 7th in the Major League Baseball. We'll give them that. Stolen bases pretty good, tied for 6th in Major League Baseball. In home runs, they're 18th. So historically, teams that are 30th in batting average, 29th in OPS, and 18th in home runs aren't winning World Series. But I get it from AJ Preller's perspective. I'm sure AJ Preller's sitting there going, look at what this pitching staff has done without Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove. I mean, if you would have told me that we're having these kind of gripes with the Padres before the season started, I would have said it would have been that the starting pitching staff would be letting them down. And then certainly when the Musgrove and Pivetta news came down, I thought that would be them. That Germán Marquez, Walker Buehler, Griffin Canning, these guys wouldn't show up. Randy Vasquez, they have. Has they been the best starting rotation in baseball? No. But considering the injuries, they deserve a lot of credit for keeping this team afloat. You've gotten what you can out of Walker Buehler. You got a couple wins out of Germán Marquez. Griffin Canning kept them in that ball game yesterday. Typically, when a team visiting has 3 hits, especially the Philadelphia Phillies, you expect to win that ball game. In terms of AJ Preller, I kind of get why he's going to the well. Like, if you're stuck with Tatis, Machado, and Merrill, unless you're going to do a massive switch up where you're going to trade a big time star, which brings a whole different set of problems with it. And is the new ownership going to approve that, considering they just bought the team, one of the most marketable stars, you want to trade them? Maybe the thing is just load up the bullpen and hope that these guys can squeeze across 2 or 3 runs and get in a Aroldis Chapman, get a Josh Hader, and make an unbelievable bullpen and pitching staff that is already elite even better. Because we're getting to a point, it's like, when are these guys going to hit the baseball? And if they're not going to hit the baseball, unless you're going to go acquire a big time star slugger, maybe it is try to eke out wins and go to the bullpen. I don't know how sustainable that is. I don't think that that's World Series caliber, but you got to give AJ Preller credit for trying, because nothing he can do about the fact that the big three, who the previous ownership group paid a bunch of money to hit, rightfully so, because you thought that they were the future of the franchise, aren't hitting. AJ Preller can only do so much. There's only so many Gavin Sheets, Miguel Andahars, Walker Buehlers that he can sign to keep this team afloat. It's up to these guys to get it together. We heard it from Manny Machado last night. Hopefully it turns around against the Phillies here, because it is a big-time set against a big-time NL opponent who's gotten hot recently. We'd love to see some response tonight at Petco Park. All right, coming up next, James Harden. New York Knicks are going to the finals. James Harden had some comments post-game that I couldn't believe, frankly, when I heard these. You're going to hear those on the other side. Plus, will LeBron be going to Cleveland? Should the Lakers be worried? That's all next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. City Sports 760 and the iHeartRadio present our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival, the biggest music event of the year. Legendary performances from the biggest names in music and once-in-a-lifetime collaborations. We'll announce the complete lineup for this year's show, let you know how you could win tickets before they go on sale. Everything you need to know happens Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Another once-in-a-lifetime music event from iHeartRadio and San Diego Sports 760. Speaking of music, Chino Iglesias will be joining me in 10 minutes from Channel 933. Maybe he's got some insight into the lineup. All right. Talk about the Padres, NBA playoffs. So the New York Knicks going to the NBA Finals, which I'm happy about because Knicks fans are entertainment, number one. Number two, I think the fact that the Knicks actually can give, I'm not saying they're going to be favored because they're not. I think they can give the Spurs and Thunder at least a little bit of a run for their money. The Cavs, they were going to get blown out, as evidenced in this series. Now, the Cavs got swept 4-0. They were not even in this thing. And James Harden had this to say post-game. So James Harden had an atrocious series. Went 2 of 8 from the field in last night's game. And this is what James Harden had to say after they got swept by the New York Knicks on their home floor.
I mean, I can't even answer that question, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was 4-0, but I don't think we had a chance as far as our best shot, you know, from a standpoint of the circumstances. You know, obviously they dominated us. 4-0, but yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question. Just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team, but you know, series wise, you know, I didn't show it, so it's a tough question to answer.
Okay, so normally, when you get swept 4-0, you're not the better team because you've had 4 opportunities to win those games and you lost. By the way, in big fashion, these were not close games. Outside of night one, the game one in Madison Square Garden, they're up 22 points. The Knicks come all the way back. These were blowouts. This comes after Kenny Atkinson had the audacity to say after game 3 that 2 of the first 3 games they won analytically. They won analytically. Like he actually went to the presser and said that. The scores of these final games: game 1, 115-104. That game went to OT. Game 2, Knicks win 109-93. Game 3, 121-108. In game 4, 130-93. And James Harden goes to the presser and goes, "We're the better team." Kenny Atkinson and him also said post-game that they blamed the schedule and the fact that they had to play multiple game 7s, which is a reason why they were gassed out. No, you weren't gassed out because of that you had to play other games. You were gassed out because you have a bunch of soft players. James Harden has never won anywhere he's been. It's a lot like the Shea argument. Now, I don't want to loop Shea in with James Harden because Shea is an NBA champion, but I think why people get frustrated with Shea and why he hasn't necessarily, I would say, had the best playoffs. The Thunder have had a great playoffs. He didn't have some great series against the Lakers. He hasn't been fantastic against the San Antonio Spurs. He went 6 of 15 from the field for 19 points in that game 4. Now, I get that they got blitzed in that game, but James Harden SGA they rely on fouls. They rely on getting the free throw line. And when the whistle gets tighter and they swallow the whistle in the postseason, you don't get that. So if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, there are reports today per Shams Charania, they're bringing Kenny Atkinson back and they're looking to sign James Harden to a big time deal, which I can't even understand. Kenny Atkinson in game 1 allowed an 18-1 run at Madison Square Garden without a timeout called. In game 4 in a closeout game, they allowed a 20-0 run. They allowed multiple double-digit runs in these series, and they weren't even close against the Knicks. A team that, by the way, I believe it was game 3, Evan Mobley had 14 points in the first half and then did not attempt a shot or did not score in the second half because they didn't get the ball to him. Kenny Atkinson has no idea what he's doing. And the fact that you were trying to exploit that Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, you might have an advantage there over Karl Anthony Towns. And then you look at Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. Like, just because you're great regular season players, to win in the postseason when teams are able to game plan for you, and Mike Brown deserves a lot of credit for this, because with the New York Knicks, they took Mitchell out of these games in the third and fourth quarters. They attacked James Harden on defense. They directly went after him the entire time, to the point where Mike Brown almost felt bad after game one, how much they attacked James Harden. There were no adjustments from Kenny Atkinson. And I don't think if you're Cleveland, you can run the same thing back. Brian Windhorst reported today that, getting this a little bit more on the other side, but LeBron will not be taking a pay cut to go to Cleveland. And let's just say that they swap LeBron out with James Harden. What does that get you? Donovan Mitchell has never been a second half player throughout his entire career, whether that was with Utah or with Cleveland. And yeah, LeBron is better than James Harden, but you got to take in the fact that LeBron's 42 years old, and LeBron thinking that he's going to make a max level salary, whether that's with the Lakers or the Cavs or the Knicks or the Warriors, it's not going to happen. Just because he still plays at an elite level does not mean that he's going to make that kind of money. Because what comes along with a max level salary contract is that you have to be available for every game, and LeBron's not going to be able to because of his age. They're going to try to load manage him. And number two, you have to be above and beyond. LeBron 10 years ago could go above and beyond and make up for subpar teammates, what he did with Cleveland. Could he do that with the Lakers this year? No, because it was the roster was so built on Luka and Reeves and LeBron being dominant. Reeves is a subpar series. Luka isn't available. The Lakers are going home. So if that's the Cavs' big fix, that they're going to get LeBron, they're not even sniffing the Eastern Conference Finals, because the Knicks are going to be there. The Pacers are going to be back in the conversation with Halliburton, and the Celtics should be there again. But yeah, I'm happy the Knicks are moving on. Glad we're done with the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, coming up next, Gino Iglesias, Channel 933, talking a little hoops, talking a little baseball, everything around the world of sports. That's coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres and Phillies are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for the Phillies and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. In NBA news, we got game 5 of the Western Conference Finals tonight between the Spurs and the Thunder. They're going to tip off a little bit after 5:30. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat. Getting warm around here.
Light the fires, Big Daddy.
Who's next in the hot seat?
Sorry.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat. That's my favorite.
Chino Iglesias.
What's up, bro?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Doing wonderful.
So you were sitting in the last segment.
Yeah.
You heard me ripping James Harden. Jay Sills on YouTube, better team, ? He's delusional. What is your reaction off the jump to that? You heard the sound. Like, this guy's saying that they were the better team over a 4-game set.
My thought on James Harden is drugs are bad, okay?
Dude,
book your ticket to China already. Go play in China, my guy, because there's no way you're going to be able to pull off anything anywhere. You can go back to Houston because they got great barbecue and strip clubs. Go ahead.
Yes, we know he loves himself some strip clubs.
But, dude, you don't have that dog in you.
If you think about that roster, like think about the Oklahoma City team that they had. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant.
What a time. What a time.
And I think if you would have told people when they got to the finals, like even if you told people that these guys split up, this would have been a next core of the NBA for years. Westbrook's never won. Harden's never won wherever he's gone. And Kevin Durant can only win joining the Warriors. Like it is a collection of disappointments from that Oklahoma City team.
It's pretty tough.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Oklahoma City, so tonight taking on the Spurs. Where are you at in that series? Because it's been so, like, who are you giving the lean to right now?
I want to say that momentum is everything, but there's something special about how the Spurs kind of have SGA figured out a little bit. I'm hoping for a Spurs Knicks series. Just because I hate the Thunder so much right now.
Yes. Yeah. It is to that end.
It's like, bro, SGA, I get it, dude. You're great. Good for you. But like just it's always a one guy and one team that we put the target on, like, man, you guys are terrible. Stop with the flopping. Play the game, because there's little kids that are impressionable that they're taking it to their local court and flopping for no reason whatsoever, thinking that's ball. It's not ball.
So I was sitting here thinking about the Thunder, to your point. I think a lot of people in Texas, 70470, start your message with team. I think a lot of people feel that way about the Thunder. They are not a very likable team to watch. And you look at, they're not a dynasty yet because they have to win titles. You look at dynasties in the NFL and the NBA. The Warriors, you may hate them, they were electric. Kobe and Shaq were electric. Look at the Patriots and Chiefs. You hated them, but Mahomes and them were electric.
Hold on. Wait a second. When have you hated an entire team? Okay, let's be honest. You said the Warriors. The only person we hated was Draymond, right?
Steph was. It's hard to hate Steph. Like, how did you hate Steph?
You can't hate Steph. You couldn't hate Steph or even Clay when he was balling. Not dribbling, just shooting. Like, this is the first time in a long time I've hated an entire team. You got SGA flopping for no reason. You got Beavis, Holmgren. Bro, stop with just with the everything. That guy is the physical embodiment of nails on a chalkboard to me. Beavis. Then you got evil Caillou in Caruso. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about the entire team. Like, I always felt like Lou Dort was the enforcer, the guy that you're supposed to hate now, but I feel like I hate the entire team and I love Lou Dort now.
Because the Thunder, the way they play basketball, they're just a good team. They're not excited. Like, Steph revolutionized the three.
Yep.
That was the Splash Brothers.
He changed the game.
may have hated them, but it was hard. The way that they would evaporate.
I never hated them, dude. I never hated them.
Me either. I never hated the Warriors.
Yeah.
They would evaporate 15-point leagues like that.
Easily.
And it wouldn't even be Kobe and Shaq, you may hate the Lakers. That was electric. That was something to watch. It was LA. It was not Showtime, but it was that team. Like there were stars on that team.
I understand why people hated us. Yes.
Right. But no one could sit there and say that Kobe and Shaq weren't electric. No one could say that. The Thunder just don't have that like must-watch TV to me.
Only to people that live in Oklahoma City.
Right.
That's it. They got nothing else.
Yeah. OU football.
that's all they got.
So I'm curious who do you think that gives the Knicks, or who do you think the Knicks can play better against?
Man, I don't think the Knicks have a shot if it's OKC. If OKC goes in there and plays their dirty game, I'm not sure they have a shot. I'm not saying they'll get swept. I
don't want to get a couple games.
I feel like it's going to be more of an even matchup aside from Wemby, right? I feel like it's going to be more. We're going to get a great series between San Antonio and New York. What we're missing here, okay? What we're missing here is a $1 billion opportunity. Follow me. I hope that I have executives from television networks listening at the moment, okay? What you guys need to do is just create a channel right now with cameras set up all over New York City. Just to watch the people of New York, because we're on the precipice, on the cusp of something special happening. I don't know if they're going to burn the city down. I have
seriously,
no idea.
if they won, I don't know.
If they won, seriously?
I was telling you guys at the break. Remember when Randall was the best player on the team, and they beat Trae Young and the Hawks in one game? It was game two, one game, and they're like destroying bridge. I mean, just like crazy stuff.
It's like a scene from an Avengers film. You know, like they're going to flip every hot dog cart. Like it's going to be madness out in New York.
It is credit to the Knicks though, because I think we've seen a change in the NBA. Like how the Knicks were built 10 years ago was about get stars. It was get a big three. It was, with the Miami days, and then it was the Warrior days. It was like, you want stars. Now you're seeing what the teams left. They have stars: Wemby, Brunson, SGA. But like the Knicks, it's really Brunson, Cat, but Cat's not on that level of superstar. In a bunch of complementary pieces.
After all that, listen, I think what we have with the Knicks is dudes that like each other. They love playing with each other. They're like brothers. They really are. You know, did I lose you? After all that, that's a Cat reference. If you don't understand.
If you've been on social media, you got that.
But listen, I feel like these guys play well together because they love each other. They're at each other's home for Thanksgiving. Like it's the homies.
Yeah, the Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart podcast.
They're playing with their friends, and there's something special about that. You know, the people that you came up with, really from college to now.
Villanova connection.
I mean, let's take it to Hart and Brunson after the cup.
Yeah.
You saw how comfortable Hart was with Brunson.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Yes,
those are like you're hanging with your boys.
But they built the team with like just a core group of guys, and they weren't star hunting, because everyone was like, remember at the halfway point when the Knicks were not playing good basketball, they were like, go get Giannis. You got to send everything for Giannis, and I think that plays into like the Lakers, the Timberwolves, like all these teams that are star hunting. Is that the way to go in today's NBA?
I don't know, man. I feel like if you can organically build something amazing, which could have happened with the Mavericks had they held on to Brunson, had they held on to Luka, they might have had something special down there, but they weren't patient. I feel like with the Knicks, even though they have a terrible ownership, they found a way, and these guys love to play together. That's the difference, is that these guys love to play together. You watch San Antonio and everything funnels through the alien, right?
Yeah.
But you have some help, some support on the side. But there's something special about that kid, man. This might be the beginning. What did I say last week or the week before? We're witnessing the beginning of his greatness.
Yeah.
He might be able to pull it all the way off during the Western Conference Finals and maybe even take it to the Knicks. We'll see, but I think we're in the middle of something special right now.
I'm curious. I want to flip it to football for a second. I'm curious about your Raiders because there was a report.
So am I.
Report today. James Palmer you're talking about OTAs, raving about Mendoza, typical stuff, PR stuff. But Ben and I got in a conversation earlier. They said that Genty is going to get a heavy workload this year. Kubiak's already talked about that.
Yeah.
I was looking at the schedule. So you guys got the Dolphins, Chargers, Saints, then it picks up. You get the Chiefs, Patriots, I believe, the Bills. Like it gets the Rams are in there. How many games before do you think Kirk's starting week 1?
I think the safe bet is to have Kirk O'Chains out there for the first few weeks to see how things go. I don't expect anything better than a 500 season unless something takes off, something magical happens, but I just don't see that just yet. I have to see it on the field. I'm not the guy that goes, oh my gosh, Mendoza, he's the savior. Oh my gosh, we're going to change everything.
Yeah.
The last 30 years, right? It's not going to change overnight, but I think we have the right pieces in place.
Where was you starting week 1? Because historically, I'm with especially a guy like Mendoza who is you can't say he has played a bunch of college games. Yeah. He's pro ready. The knock on Mendoza would be, does he have the upside of some other guys? Not in this class. But with that regard, I'm starting right away. I don't get the whole just sit him for a year and wait.
I'll watch these clips of Mendoza throwing on social media and they're like, oh, that's a pretty ball and whatever. There's nobody rushing the quarterback. There's no coverage on the receiver. You know what I mean? In an in-game situation, I would love to see that first. And we're not going to get that until maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks in.
Do you think a month in?
Maybe.
Pull it from Kirk?
Yeah. Unless
that's
Kirk
probably
goes
right.
off, man. If Kirk go with a hot hand.
Kirk would be the kind of guy who would have a Ryan Fitzpatrick type season.
Yeah. Kirk is the guy that will give you 4,000 yards a season or whatever. Let's say he goes off first couple weeks. Oh, this is the guy we're going to go with. And Kirk is also the guy that will throw 5 picks in a half.
Right. And you do feel like the Raiders done a good job of setting the table, like what the Jets are doing right now. The Jets got Omar Cooper Jr. They got Kenny Sadiq. They don't have a quarterback, but they're getting supporting pieces so that when they do have a quarterback, they're ready to go. The Raiders have done a good job of that with Bowers and Genty, putting pieces on there.
They're going to be key.
They're going to be key.
Yeah.
Chino Iglesias, Channel 933. Go take a listen to him. You're starting in 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Something like that.
I'm going to listen to him.
I'm going to push buttons down the hall.
Listen to him over on Channel 933. Chino, you're the best, dude. Thank you for always hopping on. Coming up next, Schaefer and Slee, a little crossover action. Getting to talk to them. Going along, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Exactly. That's what I say. Schaefer and Sliwa are here. I would like to announce that. So if you were waiting, you're like, God, can Sammy be done? These guys can be on. They're here. You'll hear them from 3 to 6. Alan, so Al, you guys didn't know each other super well before you got on air together, right?
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, but you weren't like
together
you
for
weren't
3 years.
out.
Were we 3 years?
We went to college together.
Yep.
I mean, we were high school buddies.
High school buddies. Yep.
You know this, that if you listen to John Schaefer for years, he's a hard kombucha fan. So he's not a chugging tequila guy. He's a hard kombucha guy.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, Alan Sliwa comes in here, a little groggy. He's like, had some hard kombucha yesterday.
No, actually, I'm good. It was early enough in the day where I'm fine, but I'm just not. John, we just don't drink like we used to.
No, we don't. Now, this was today or yesterday?
It was about an hour ago. Yeah, about an hour ago. I was doing a hard kombucha. Yeah.
No, I'm
and
with
a
you.
bourbon.
It's funny you say that because this was yesterday. You had 2-3 drinks. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's
paint you with that brush.
Probably 2. Let's stop pretending like I'm trying to be something I'm not. 2 is probably the max right now.
I had 2 Saturday night. It was the long weekend. We were out with some friends.
Okay.
But yeah, I will. That's abnormal for me.
Are you hold on? Are you a strictly hard kombucha guy? Or are you at a bar? Are you willing to dabble?
I had a margarita.
Love a good marg.
Yeah, I had a marg. But I'll drink kombucha. I'll drink beer.
Margaritas are great. I'm with you guys. I could do margaritas.
I love my issue. I've said this before. Anytime I order a drink that's like a specialty drink, it comes out with like flamingos in it and fireworks and umbrellas, and it's
a bouquet of flowers. Like everything comes out.
I happened to go to 3 Padre games last week, which is very abnormal for me because I won my buddy had tickets and there was a graduation thing. And my friends were like, you want to go Sunday? I was like, yeah, sure. Took a mortgage out of my house, getting some drinks at games. I mean, this thing is through the roof.
What'd you get?
Just beer, some tall boys.
Let me guess.
And some tequila.
It's minimum. A beer is minimum 20.
Minimum.
Yeah, minimum 20.
I spent $47 getting 2 beers. Because my buddy got tickets. I bought him a drink.
Gotcha.
A beer. I was like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
No, that whole thing is backwards. I don't know what to tell you. And it's not going to churn unless basically the fans revolt. Like it's the only way it's going to happen.
Right. It's
God
not gonna
bless.
go down, right?
God bless Petco. I mean, I get it. Everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah.
But it literally will not change until people are like, I'm not paying for this anymore.
They so what's your if you're at a bar, what is your go-to like classy order? Like what is like you're trying to like what's your go-to drink order that people know you by?
Well, nothing.
Well, classy. I mean, obviously Coors Light.
Yeah,
if we want, what's
your
more?
Coors Light?
I mean,
I usually get a Coors Light, and I ask them. I say, hey, as you pour this in my glass, just pour a little.
Yeah.
And then I swirl it a little bit. Right. I just want to kind of taste it.
Little taste test.
A couple times I've sent it back.
Hey, nothing wrong with a silver bullet. There's nothing wrong with a silver bullet. You know what I mean?
I would say that like a gin and tonic in general, I
underrated
have no problem
drink.
ordering. But then they're like, oh, would you like any type of gin? I'm like,
Bombay.
Gin. I'm like, yes, just put the gin in it. Like I couldn't name one gin company if my life was on the line.
You're like, what's the gin one?
Yeah. They're like, do you want like house? I'm like, I just want gin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like saying, like, I don't order chocolate and be like, oh, you want Hershey?
Right.
Yeah,
I just want chocolate.
But that's different. Like people do have in the alcohol world, they want a specific bourbon or a gin or a whiskey or something like that.
It's not. Like, what is the difference between bourbon and whiskey? I always wanted this. Like I was on like a whiskey drinking phase, but is it like a distill? Do we have any brewers out there?
I don't know if I could sit here and tell you, but one of them's going to be like smokier typically.
Ooh, yeah.
Other one's going to be drier. I like bourbon over whiskey.
Okay.
I'm a bourbon fan over whiskey.
I like? I had it when San Diego State was on its run to the Final Four, and they went through Louisville. What's Louisville known for?
Oh, bourbon.
Yeah.
Bourbon Street. No, that's in New Orleans.
Bourbon, but they're known for their bourbon. Yeah, they're known for their bourbon.
What's the bourbon drink what's a popular bourbon drink? Everyone has it.
Popular.
Kentucky Mule.
Oh, Kentucky bourbon. Kentucky.
No, give me another.
Popular bourbons.
I mean, the most popular drink.
Jack Daniels.
No, but that's
my
just,
point is I really like
Buffalo
the drink.
Trace. Buffalo Trace.
No, but those are the types of old fashioned, not the kind of liquor, not the brand.
Drink. I love a good old fashioned, but I don't feel great the next day.
Yeah, it takes it.
Old fashions with the orange twists, the orange.
Yeah, there's some orange in there.
No, old fashions are good.
Really good. Really good.
Do you guys drink watching games? Like, are you if you're at a ballpark, I assume you're getting a beer.
I mean, the Padres are making me drink.
Yes, Padres
they give you a lottery. By the way, maybe they should try that.
Yeah, like, hey,
have a
watch
couple
our
before.
offense.
Well,
Have a couple before.
Swing juice Tuesday night against the Phillies.
Yeah.
Like if I am seriously, if I'm at a ball game, it's like June.
Mhm.
Like I'm not like sweating the outcome of the game necessarily at a crazy rate, so I'm drinking. But if I'm watching like a playoff game, you know what I mean?
Oh, if it's the Chiefs,
right? Like if the Chiefs are in the playoffs, I'm not drinking.
Let's put it this way:
the Lakers are in games like that's not happening.
Let's put it this way: Petco Park playoff game.
There's no drinking.
I'm not trying to have a beer.
Right.
I'm not trying to enjoy myself. I think that's what he's referring to, right? Like I'm not trying to.
Here's the thing: when I'm in a game where I've got that ridiculously vested interest in the outcome, I'm not leaving my seat. I hate that. I don't want, and I also don't want to get up between half innings because everyone's getting up between half innings because everyone's thinking what I am, which is they don't want to miss the game. Yeah. Where during the regular season, you're playing the Brewers, people are going to get up during the game.
Sure.
But postseason Brewers NLCS or something, I'm not getting up during the game. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, it's not like, especially going to the concessions. It's always funny to me, and like baseball is the only sport where, like, if you pay for NFL tickets, considering the prices, like you're going to be there for the full game. Like you're not showing up in the third quarter. Like baseball is funny, and people will be like, show up in the fifth. Yeah, you buy a ticket at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, may show up at halfway through the first, leave it midway through the fourth.
What was the thinking there? So if you didn't hear Alan, he bought a ticket.
What was the thinking of what? Game 5?
Game 5.
I didn't want to watch the Padres lose at Dodger Stadium. That was the thinking.
But you could have been there for a miraculous comeback.
I could have, and I was prepared to be there if that happened. But if you watched any part of that game, it wasn't happening.
So you were just driving around LA traffic?
No. My girl's place is in Pasadena.
Okay.
So I'm 15 minutes away at most. And trust me, everybody's already in there. That's all I needed was 15 minutes to get in.
Just walked in.
And there was no point in that game where I'm like, yeah, this is time. Now is the time to go in.
Crazy thing was the Dodgers won 2-0.
I know. It's very
So it wasn't like it was some blowout. Like it was like 9-2.
Right.
Let's put it this way. It happens again. I'll go in and just take the L if the L comes with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you pay for a seat. Which you boys are coming up on the show today?
It was an investment. And that investment.
It was an investment.
Backfired.
Yeah, it hasn't paid off.
What did your girl think about the investment in the bank account?
She didn't care.
She didn't care?
Like, yeah, you do your thing.
She's a keeper.
She thought that she saw I was an absolute nervous wreck. She's like, I just hope this man is alive by the time the series is over.
Yeah. Tom McCarthy is the longtime television voice of the Philadelphia Phillies who are in town to play the Padres. He will join us coming up at 3:30. Darren Smith.
D. Smith.
Friend of the show, friend of the station, will join us at 4:30 to talk about his
SDFC.
Knicks.
Padres, Knicks. We might need him for 2 segments.
We may need him for 2 hours.
I feel like before we get out of here, this is a big series for the Pods because every time they've stepped up in NL competition, whether it be the Brewers, Cubs, or Dodgers, they've lost the series.
Listen to this.
And
this guy.
like the Phillies, you're down 0-1. Like you got to show you can actually beat a team that's going to be there in the NL playoffs to start talking about like going
I don't disagree with that. I think it's a good assessment.
Good take.
Even Arizona, what was it? Just a 2-game set.
Just a 1-1.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
no, that's good. That's a good point. It's a good point.
We'll see what happens. Keep listening to these boys on the other side. We'll be back tomorrow at 12. Fletch and I keep on listening.